our new city administrator, Trish Cruz. Welcome, Trish. She started today, and we are going forward. Welcome, Trish.
Thank
She
you.
hasn't left.
Welcome to the club.
Okay, we will just move into our work session now. So you were just given a draft of a pay scale. If you want to look over that, and if you have any questions for Trish or Terry, this is a draft, a work in progress. Oh, we need a roll call before we start this whole thing. We need to back up a couple steps, people, sorry. Roll call for a quorum, please.
Coulter,
Here.
McAdams,
Here.
Perry,
Here.
Wallander.
Here.
Okay, now we'll skip over new business and we'll go to our work session. This is just a draft, I'm correct. It's still a work in progress.
The labor and wastewater, he has to be certified. So I don't know if do we call him a laborer?
Yeah, he does have to have a certificate.
Yes, he does.
It's got it for a minimum of 1375, I think it's gonna be jacked up to 15 anyway. We need to,
In January,
In
yes.
January. In August, it's going to 1375.
Right.
okay. That's
So
fine.
we'll just have to redo this again.
And this is for new hires? Is this what we're?
Correct.
I believe most of our current employees fit into this, or they're real close.
There is one, the administrative assistant should probably go down to a 3 with the clerks. Unless we require like 3 to 5 years experience, associate degree in business, anything of that, then we'd have to bring them up to a higher grade.
So that should go down to
Administrative
the 3.
assistant to,
So we would, yeah, we would either do a 3 or a 4, dependent on what your requirements would be for an administrative assistant. And what we can do, this would be, say, an administrative assistant 1, where it's just basic levels, and then as we need higher, more experience with degrees or experience, we could add level 2, 3 to move forward. But starting out probably a 3, we think, yeah. Depending on, again, what your requirements are. They could be a 3 or 4 if you want an associate's and 5-year experience.
As wastewater laborer, Judy, do you think he needs to go clear up to the MB4 with the wastewater plant operator, or should he just go up to the 3?
I think he probably, because he is, he has to be certified, and he is.
but it's not his license, so he wouldn't be on the same level.
Right,
as
but
the
he
one
still
with the
has to be,
license.
yeah. And I think wastewater plant manager ought to go to the 5. Because he has to have like 3 certifications.
So the wastewater supervisor is there on 5.
Oh, okay.
So that's Alberta Durham 4.
So that wastewater
we got
laborer might be
wastewater
somebody we don't even
3.
have right now, just a
Pardon?
laborer.
No, we don't have just a laborer. We've got, I guess you'd call him an operator, because he operates
Well, that's
it.
what I was fixing to
He's
ask.
already there.
Would
Yeah.
he qualify for as the wastewater plant
Yeah,
operator since he's
operator.
already certified?
Yeah.
You don't have to have the same certification
Right.
as the.
the license.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that labor there if you ever want just a laborer to help them in wastewater.
Okay, that's good.
So one of our focuses is the Equal Pay for Equal Work Act. And so we tried to combine those that had the same kind of responsibility, the same kind of certification that is required, so that we meet that act for equal pay for equal work.
This,
So this is averaged on the employees that we have now, is that correct?
No, this is what the area,
Based on, in the area?
based on what they pay in the area.
Have we calculated where we're at with our employees?
Kind of. We found some that are well below and some that are way too high. I think once the minimum wage, once we get caught up with that, that'll help with some of the areas. Others, we'll have to reevaluate come if we decide to do the yearly anniversary date increases on there. We can adjust it then to get them to the right place.
I like your idea that you said last week about, last week, about getting raises on merit instead of just,
Absolutely.
But are we still thinking about the ones that are way up there being at a freeze?
That we need to discuss.
I
We
remember that
need
was
to
brought
look-
up,
Yeah,
so
we
that
need
way
to
we
look
can get
into-
everybody on the same.
Yeah, that's a tough one. We need to make sure that we're going to abide by any of the laws, which will require a little bit of research. And we also don't want to discourage
Right.
employment. We don't want to lose our knowledge and our skilled laborers
Right.
for that. So that's a fine line, but I think once we can look at the law and then we'll look at where we are, I'm sure we can come to a good understanding and agreement on that one. That will benefit both.
Okay, any more questions on this so far? And as I understand that the classifications and job descriptions are in the works also. So hopefully, August 19th, this will all be brought back for approval.
so we're gonna have our jobs and what their descriptions is.
Yeah, what, the jobs and well, I guess these are the job titles.
Right,
Classifications, I'm not sure. They're assigning classifications per job title or department, or
So
But we're
one
gonna
thing,
they're working on it.
but we are gonna have what everybody's supposed to be doing, the description of their work, right? Have they turned those in? I know some of them.
Some of them did. I found that whole file full of them that seemed to be ones they'd done before. I had the supervisors look at them and they said that's what they turned in a couple of years ago.
Okay,
one thing I would like to note is we did not put the police department on here because they are a specialized unit and department with unique traits in schooling and academy, and they do risk their life for our safety. So we discussed about our next step is we want to just take a look at what they have. The police department has their own pay scale, and just make sure it's matches the market that in the area that we're in. So that will be the next one, and that'll just be an addition. It'll just be two separate ones.
Okay.
And so we'll get that one for you guys.
So now we are to page nine, is that where we stopped?
35 I have. Am I wrong?
I have 29.
Yeah, 29, because the vacation,
What was it, 29?
yes.
No, I wanted to skip some. Could we go back to page 20?
Yeah, but this is the last meeting that we're gonna allow you to go back.
You can't go back tomorrow?
No. How far back?
To page 20.
Oh, reading and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Today's been crazy.
Page 20.
Except a lot of your time.
G-Works.
Well, maybe it's 17. See, I don't even know where I want to go back to.
No, no.
17 was
No, but on
probationary
page-
period.
On page 20, where we said down here, the pay increases are not guaranteed but may be given after completing probationary period. Employees profession. On the CDL, I think that needs to be classified different than somebody has to take a test to get certified in a department, like water certifications. I don't, to me, it needs to be more in depth on that,
Well, will that be on the pay scale though? Those that have a CDL is gonna be different than those that have other certifications.
Well, I thought we had talked about it, and like with the CDL, it's a requirement if you get hired to get a CDL. So that wouldn't be specific pay increase for that, but if they're getting certifications to expand their knowledge for a job, then the certification should get a raise.
right?
So the
Oh.
CDL should come off there, but they should still get something for the certifications.
Well, it says, this would apply for, I guess, employees being hired. It says, employees' certifications, including the CDL, will be considered when placing on the employee pay scale. Wouldn't that suffice, that if your pay scale has the certification increase and the CDL increase, put on the pay scale?
So when you say when you get certified, you automatically move up to that pay scale,
If that's
right?
what is on the pay scale, yeah.
And to me, we need a clause in there, if we send them to school to get that CDL, it should be in there, they have to sign a 3-year contract to stay with us. Because we've done that so many times, Sherry, we get them CDL license and 6 months later, they go drive a truck and make a lot more money. And we paid for their schooling for their CDL.
I think Verma stepped in on that one on the 3-year deal. Remember, like,
I know that we had a discussion with the city attorney regarding that.
I don't think you can do 3 years. You might be able to do a year, maybe 2, but I don't think you can do 3.
But don't you think they are to sign something that,
Well, when I worked for the school, there were plenty of people that did that, and then they would just be gone.
Right.
They'd get their CDL, but now with the classification, if they get a classification to drive the trash trucks, which have got air brakes, that's fine. But that really does not allow them to go to drive a semi-truck. It might allow them to drive a delivery truck, but it also has weight classifications, passenger classifications. It just depends on what classification they're going for. If they're just gonna get a CDL to pull a pickup with a trailer behind it around Mountain View, just a general low base CDL, 10, 12,000, commercial driver's license.
well, I know,
Well, a Class B can do a dump truck with a pump trailer too. So, and there's a lot of dump truck jobs in our area, so, I mean, they could
Right.
take their Class B and
well, I know one
go
from
work
sanitation
somebody
quit
out.
3 years ago after he got his CDL license. That's what he did. went and worked for these people hauling gravel with a dump truck, you know?
Well, then couldn't we find out for the CDLs and other certifications and put in on page 21, still part of this section 4, and then something about certifications, what you intend to pay for that they would get the next pay scale, I don't know how you want to word it, and then one also for the CDL and keep them separate.
How could we word that, Trish? Do you have any idea how, if
Make that 47 and 48.
if you get certifications on your job?
If we're paying for it. I agree, we can make them sign a contract that will hold them morally. I'm not sure if we'd have to have the attorney see if it will hold them financially to 1, 2, 3 years to work with us, something, you know, that we get our money worth.
Right.
We don't want to go too high because, you know,
But
they're not going to
but
stay
if they
for
get
5 years.
certification and the city didn't pay for it, you know,
Well, that's when we hire them, say they already got their certification, we wouldn't start them on the low end
Right.
of it. We would adjust it accordingly.
but I'm talking about
That's what
if
this
somebody,
statement made.
but if somebody
Well, they
gets
tried,
cert,
they tried that with the police department, remember?
Mhm.
Going to the,
Academy.
academy,
yeah, well, that worked out.
but if somebody's already hired and then they have to get a certification to do certain things, then shouldn't their pay scale go up because they got certified?
But if it was required for the job,
Exactly,
then,
it's required and we're paying for it.
No,
So-
they didn't pay this one per, if the city don't have no money in it,
Okay, so they paid themselves,
yes.
and was it required for that position, that certification?
One of them was, yes.
Then we hired them knowing that they were going to be getting that certification, and this is what we start you at.
Okay,
And we give them you have 3 months to get it, kind of thing.
okay.
And the other thing too, regarding making them stay with us, contracted with us for a year or so, should we pay for any kind of CDL licensing
Right.
or certifications? We could also add in there, or if you quit within, you owe us back that money.
Right. Okay,
so to add 2 items, the 047 and 048, wording for certifications in the CDL.
right.
Okay, anything else before 29?
Where we picked out all the, and I can't find it right now, where we went over all the hours, was that on a separate sheet of paper?
Hours as far as,
You know, for certain departments, they started at
work?
8:30.
that's
Can
on
we-
page 22.
Yes. Could we put in there that under special occasions, if the supervisor asks the city administrator or the /mayor, like when it's 100 degrees, if they could start like at 6:30?
Well, I think normally work will allow for that. But even like special exceptions with approval of city administrator,
Because.
except for special,
Except, I mean, especially for, you know, hot weather.
Extreme-
We don't want nobody
extreme
having
weather.
heat
Like
strokes.
extreme weather conditions.
Right.
So for which departments, like road and bridge, or,
Yeah,
well, the parks and the streets of, well, all of them when it was
100 degrees.
100 degrees, yeah.
You know, electric having to be up in it. Wastewater, they start early anyway, but parks, streets, water, sewer, you know.
would it be beneficial to just have them actually change their hours, so all of those that work outside have the earlier morning hours?
That
Or,
would be okay in the
do we
summertime,
wanna-
but not in the winter though.
okay,
Yeah. And then some of them, you know, you don't want, like the parks to be running, lawnmowers right next to, if people live there next to the park at
oh,
6
true,
o'clock in the morning, then you have complaints.
right.
So, but on real hot, super days, I don't think anybody's gonna complain about it for a couple of days.
Okay.
But just some little word in there so a supervisor knows he can come and ask to start earlier. And that's my last complaint, I guess.
On work hours, can I ask, we had talked about having City Hall open until 5, and the ladies working a little bit of shifts. When do we want to start that? Or should we discuss that in August, at the August meeting?
Well, I really can't start until this is approved, I would assume.
Right.
But
Okay.
will exceptions with approval of city administrator work just added after, on that first line?
Exceptional weather.
Or just exceptions with approval of city administrator?
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready for 29 now?
I've done my damage.
Because this may, there may have to be some that are grandfathered in, because this is really changing part of this.
Therefore, wanted to mention.
Would you move that mic a little closer to her?
I did want to mention that we may need to add some of these leaves for like voting. People are allowed to leave to go vote. There's witness duty leave, those who are actually witness to a crime. There's crime victim leave when these are all through the state of Missouri. I looked them up to make sure that we were capturing all of them. I don't know if they're mandatory, it didn't really say, but it did say that these are some. I'll go in more in depth on my research to make sure that this is, if this is mandatory, we'll want to include this. There was also volunteer emergency responder and air patrol leave. So those are just a few that I found that we might have to consider.
Daniel?
Mhm.
Well, if she researches that and we do need them in there, can we just add
Well,
them?
yeah, we're gonna come back with a
Final draft.
final draft
Right.
even. It won't be the final thing, but a final draft. But the thing about the voting, since the polls are open from 6:30 till 7, then they've got, and no one has to travel hours to get to a polling place. That probably doesn't really apply. I know there's the law, but they would have ample time to vote before or after work, though,
I'll see.
in our situation.
I'll see if we have to include that to give
Yeah.
them that option. Should we hire someone out of town who doesn't need to travel? And perhaps, we, just in case.
It just kind of
At
covers.
least it'd be
Right.
in there.
We might as well just have it, even though we don't have the employee that actually does that. But we'll make sure we include it on the draft if it's
Because under
required.
jury leave, it says paid leave will not be granted when employees participating as a witness in litigation or administrative proceedings. So that's really contrary to what you
Right.
got there, so.
Yeah. And I did get this off of the State of Missouri website, so I will confirm to see if that is something we need to
And that would all be in part of this section
Correct.
7.
On this here vacation leave,
Yep, that's where we are right now.
well,
Going forward, going forward.
on that, what about,
Okay, let's compare what we've got now. 1 year, 1 week. So that number one is okay.
right,
2, department head is what it says, but
Right.
supervisor been employed for 1 year shall be entitled to 2 weeks vacation.
right.
And that's what we have given them. This says 3 years.
So what are we gonna do about it?
Okay, so if we take the first year for employees and supervisors and leave it 1 and 2 like it is, then go back to the employees for the next 5, 10, or 15 years. But in the new one on page 29, that second one needs to still remain the 2 years, or 1 year, I mean, for the supervisor.
I think so too.
Any supervisor who has been employed by the city continuously for 1 year shall be entitled to 2 weeks vacation with regular pay and shall be required to take. Okay.
So 1 year and 2 weeks.
Yes, for supervisors, they get the 2 weeks.
1 year as a supervisor or 1
Not as a
year.
supervisor, being employed. So that means we hire a supervisor, or if they're promoted to a supervisor.
They have to work a year before they get that.
2 years. Yeah, on their end,
Well, that
She's
will,
saying one
that will
2
change.
weeks,
No.
not 2 years.
These
2 weeks.
full-time employee. It'd basically be the same as a full-time employee, only the supervisor gets 2 weeks after that first year on 1 and 2. Then, when does a full-time employee get 2 weeks of vacation?
I say 5 years. I think it's
Because the
3
current
years.
one says 3.
Right.
Okay. 3 years for 2, 15 years for 3 is what is in the old one. So the change in the 2 to 5 years, and then 3 weeks, 2 weeks at 5 years, 3 weeks at 10 years, and then 4 weeks at 15 is what the new one means.
If I may add something on number 3 that we're currently looking at, keep in mind that an employee can go almost to any other employer and they get 2 weeks vacation, paid vacation on their first year. So even, that's just the norm. So you're actually
2 weeks
making
the
them
first
work
year.
for 5 years before they get 2 weeks vacation. 2 weeks vacation meaning 10 days, right? Five working days a week. So the norm is a 2 week when someone goes to, a different employer, a benefit is 2 weeks vacation, paid vacation.
Can we do
After
research on that for
1
around here to make sure? Just,
Absolutely.
So the whole thing will then,
Be researched.
okay, and the rest of the leaves will be confirmed? Because almost every one of them is going to have to be according to the law.
Right.
So 29 and 30.
Yeah, we need to check out the state statutes on all of those.
Okay, can we skip over then to 31?
Yes.
Any questions or comments on 31?
Uh,
Inclement weather and the accident without leave?
So if it's super bad and we've got people coming from Wynonna or West Plains or Willow, then it says the mayor can retain authority to determine if a delay, opening, early closing, full day closure. Because we don't want nobody hurt coming to work.
Yeah, but aren't we gonna look, wasn't you gonna look into what the school had to send text alerts and stuff?
That's on the list.
Because that would kinda fit in with that too, because they would know ahead of time before they would have to leave. Because they could be alerted like at 5 a.m. or something, so that way they know not to come in since City Hall is closed. Or whatever, being shut down that day.
But as far as if the city closes early, then the employees are gonna be paid for the entire scheduled workday because they're sent home and the building's closed.
Right.
But if there's a delayed opening, okay, they'll get paid for the entire day, that's what it says. Okay, here, on the full day closure. Okay, affected city offices may be closed to the public, but will remain open for employees. And if employees decide not to come in, they'll be charged with leave time. Affected city offices may be closed, but will remain open for employees. What instance is that gonna happen?
Were you reading?
That full day closure on page 31?
Right.
Because I know it got really bad and we did close City Hall in the wintertime, but then the street people still had to get out.
Right. Well, the street people usually gets here before it really hits bad, so they get ready.
So I don't know when this, because if we close City Hall, none of them are going to be,
Nobody stays.
nobody's going to be, it's not going to remain open for the employees.
Or why would, if it's streets, why would they need City Hall? open?
Well, no, that's what I mean, but as far as full day closure, affected city offices may be closed to the public, but will remain open for employees. When are the employees ever going to work? When City Hall's closed, or the senior center's closed, or the library's closed?
So
I
maybe the
Well,
city
There's a few of us
offices-
that would in the offices, so you want to leave that option open for us.
but you wouldn't be required to, though,
No.
if the city's closed.
But I'd have
If
to
the city's
leave.
closed, then you would have to,
Maybe it should say departments instead of offices. Affected city departments may be closed to the public, but will remain open for employees.
or city facilities.
Yep.
Facilities. Use
Yeah.
facilities instead of offices.
That makes sense.
It's in the library, senior center. Okay.
And then like she said, if she decided she would stay, could we put something like, but will remain open for the employees who choose to remain?
Well, this would have to be, because if we're saying unable to drive to work, then that means that they're required to be here.
Right.
But if any of the facilities are closed, they're not gonna be required to be here, so I don't
So do we
know
need,
when that would be.
do we need to scratch out, but will remain open for employees? Because if they're closed down, they're closed down. they shut City Hall down, nobody should be coming in this building, correct?
Right.
So you wouldn't wanna leave it open, would you?
Well, that's why we changed it to facilities. That means that the ones that need to show up will still show up because they'll be open.
And it would be nice if somebody did come in, because I want to tell you, the phone's gonna burn off the wall that day, finding out. What do you think, Calvin? You're quiet down there, that's dangerous.
I think I'll let you come in and answer the phone. It
Thanks.
got done saying it'd be burning off the wall, but,
Do we have
I mean, there's not much anybody can
Yes,
do.
Yeah, and it's been updated to where you punch a number for the city clerk and a number for the billing clerk, and I don't know what all the,
We need to figure out how to use the thing where you can go in there and change the message. So we can put a message on there, I'm sorry, City Hall is closed today due to weather.
I think Jennifer was working on that last.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I agree that there's no sense in city offices will be closed to the public, but will remain open for employees. I don't see that. I mean, but somebody's gonna have to come in on the maintenance and get on a truck and plow.
Right.
Or somebody, maybe the sewer line is broke, I mean, water line, or something's broke. So those guys are gonna have to come to work.
Well,
I think that's what they're talking about as employees. The office personnel.
Well,
And
If we change it
electric's
to
gonna have to come in in
facilities,
case
yeah.
the ice is on the limbs.
I would say leave it in like it reads, only use facilities instead of office.
On that note, wouldn't those people be the ones that are on call? Not necessarily the regular employees?
Yeah.
So if there
Just
is
in
a,
case
if
they are
there is a
needed.
pipe that busted, all our on-call emergency responders will be available.
Right.
And they would be the on-call ones, the one that, because I
On-call
don't
on
think you'd be
Wednesday?
like, yeah, but I don't think
Yeah,
you'd be
they're on
calling
call all
parks
week.
in for a main break, so that would be for the calling ones.
Well, when they're on call,
They're
they're
on
on
call
call for
7
that
days.
whole week.
Yeah, but on call, okay, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening. In other words, so if there's
Okay.
line breaks, they're gonna be here in line breaks, let's say. That would be their normal work time on call. Okay, if they can't get here, they can't get here. Now, anything after 5 o'clock would be, I would have thought would have been considered on call.
Okay.
Anything after 5.
Or
Normal work hours,
But
if they're here, they're here.
unless we're closed, then,
Due to weather.
right,
Well, but
then that
somebody's
would
still
be
gotta
on
come
call.
in, and what I was getting at, is somebody still has to come in to the wastewater plant and read that stuff down there. Somebody still has to come in and start a truck up to plow the streets and stuff like that. So the facilities could be closed, but the employees,
But we don't, let me interject this before you continue on that, because it says inclement weather prior to the workday. It says the mayor will decide if it warrants a delayed opening or a full day closure. So if we take out this full day closure, affected that whole line right there, then just leave in employees who are unable to drive to work due to inclement weather or who choose to remain home. That's where this leave time comes in. We don't even need that full day closure line right there. And the mayor can't decide without the street people in the police department in the first place, but I guess someone has to call the final call. But the,
So take the,
I don't know why we would need that line at all. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but.
So.
This is saying that the delayed opening, they're gonna get paid for the entire day, so we need that explanation there. Full day closure, if it's closed, it's closed. And then the employees being, who are unable to drive, that's for any, because maybe the city's not shut down, but I don't wanna drive, because I think it's unsafe, I'll take my leave and stay home.
Right.
So that's kind of.
That's for the whole in the event, yeah.
So full day closure would be, they get paid, the city employee gets paid no matter what, because you closed the office, you closed it down, full day closure period, right? And then if
Well,
it's
okay, that's not what he
implemented.
said then, so.
Yeah, that's thinking of what a employee would see reading this. They're gonna say full day closure. Well, you're officially closing this, so why am I having to use my
Okay.
vacation to do this? However, that you can either say that will be paid or that will not be paid. And then you can say if, you know, during inclement weather and we are still open, we did not close down, and you feel it's not safe for you to come in, to drive in, you may use your leave time. That might be just a little bit more clear for anyone to understand.
I'll make a note for more clarity on the full day and the leave time.
Well, it's confusing the way it's,
Yeah, if we're gonna call a full day closure, then we're closed. And we're gonna pay our employees or not, but we'll need to state that. If we call a full day closure, employees will not be paid, or employees will be paid, since we
But-
called it.
but how are we gonna handle that if we got a full day closure, but the street department has to come in and blade roads?
Yeah, that's.
Exception of departments that are needed.
And everybody else has got paid for staying home, but they're gonna have to come in and work.
But theirs would be on-call pay time, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just the daily.
Mhm.
I mean, they'd be getting that extra 4 hours a day
But
anyway.
on call is just one person.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And if we, you know, the whole street department will be in here plowing, so that's not fair to make them come to work, but we close the city, everything else down, and they're gonna get paid for staying home when these guys is having to work. So how are we gonna make that fair?
Well, if they get paid for staying home, I would've thought you would've made them take comp time or vacation. Not vacation, I don't think you can make a vacation.
Now, you
but
can't
comp
make them
time.
take vacation.
They can either choose to use any accrued vacation or comp time.
Right.
Or
We've got comp
they
time has
cannot
to
get
be used
paid.
first, though.
Comp time has to be used first?
That's what's in the manual.
Okay, so then we can say, and if you don't have comp time, you can choose to use so many hours of your vacation time. Or not get paid.
Or not get paid,
If you
right?
want to do it that way.
Well, if we go back to this full day closure, affected city facilities may be closed to the public, will remain open for certain departments or
They're almost like,
health or safety departments.
right, they're almost like emergency. You know, they're part of an emergency response team.
Essential, necessary, something.
Essential employee.
Oh,
And
we
just
got
put in
no-
there, and the employees will have to use comp time for pay. And that way they know if they get
Not
that.
everybody has comp time. So if we leave it at leave time, because if they don't have comp time, then they could use vacation.
Vacation.
Right,
I mean, like I said, the sewer plant guys gotta come in also.
right.
Wastewater, they've got to come in to read all that stuff.
Well, they gotta do their dailies, because it's gotta be turned into
Right,
DNR
I
every day.
mean, they even come in on Saturdays and Sundays. When somebody takes a week's vacation, the other guy has to. So they have to come in. I mean, DNR probably would, you know, not raise too much. If we had 2.5 foot of snow, nobody could go anywhere. But if we
He
had
knows
that,
about DNR.
nobody would be going anywhere.
if you do a closure and you decide that employees should get the day paid, then those who have to come in, that could be earned, they get their regular 8-hour day pay. What they are working could go towards comp time if you want to do it that way. So if they're out there plowing for 4 hours, that would be 4 hours comp time because they were given their 8 hours. If you guys decide you want to pay them for a closure due to the inclement weather.
Okay, could we word it like any essential worker called in would be accordingly compensated for their time?
You would have to define essential worker. We would have to put that in there because,
Well, that would be streets, water, and sewer,
And wastewater,
and wastewater.
And electric.
and electric,
Yeah.
don't we got electric?
And police.
I mean, you already
I
got
mean,
it.
but
police are given, fire are
Well,
given.
might as well be clerks and sanitation, it's all swept.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you don't have much left, so.
That's
Well, I don't think they've ever been paid for a full day closure. They are paid if they're
It gets sent
delayed
home.
or if they get sent home.
So I guess where we can start is, do you want to pay them or do you not with the full day closure for inclement due to weather?
I still think you just take comp time or vacation time, that's what I always had to do. I mean,
So we
if
could
you're
offer
a
that.
salaried employee,
Well, we could just put it on there, a full-day closure will not be paid. It's the employee's choice if they want comp time or vacation time or
To use,
what.
yep, if they
Or
want
no
it,
pay.
if they want to
Or
use.
no pay.
we're not being paid time off through the city, but can use.
Correct, their comp time or vacation time, just not sick time. You could definitely make that an option.
Okay, moving on. The absent without leave.
well, we didn't decide that. What did we decide? Let's decide something.
That
I
we-
mean, that's supposed to go in there.
That we would not pay, and it would be up to the employee if they want to get comp time or vacation time for that day off.
Okay, all right, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, but do we need to specify, because streets could say, well, I don't want to come in either, so I want to take my comp time. So we kind of need to specify the ones that will come in on call, unless we put exceptions of like on-call departments, necessity departments or something.
It would, a good place to have that is in the job description. So
Okay.
that they know exactly what is expected of them.
Right.
They accepted that job, and then we don't even have to worry about putting it in here because it's already in the job description. So perhaps we need to look at those job descriptions closer to make sure that we're accounting for those kind of emergency
Right.
services.
I mean, if you go to work for the state of Missouri, you're driving a truck, and we have a snowstorm coming in, I'm sorry, whether you like it or not, the state of Missouri says you're coming in, you're gonna climb
That's
the
right.
truck and you're gonna plow.
Right.
They don't say please.
Yeah,
Right.
they just, well, and I mean, and I understand what she's saying also, that, but that's part of the job that you're hired for. I mean,
Right.
that's just it.
But that needs to be specified so they can't
Right, and there's
use that
job
against you and
description.
say, well, that's not what it said when I signed on the dotted line.
Exactly. We have to have that in.
We have
the
to
job
cover every
description.
angle. That would make sense, to put it in the job description, then they,
Right.
And then
because they will
sign
get a
off.
copy of their job description after they sign it, correct? And then
Yeah.
that way they can't say, well, I didn't know that,
Right.
you got a
Well,
copy.
we need to go
Right,
over
both
them and make sure.
signatures. It'll need to be the employee and the supervisor will need to sign that job description because the supervisor needs to make that clear. Before we move on, can we back up just once here, under the page 30, under maternity and paternity leave? It doesn't say anything about using sick time. Are you going to allow them to use sick time for maternity leave?
Well, we have short-term disability that should cover that. for the employee.
Because it does,
Well, I kind of took it on the second paragraph. Leave is not to exceed 12 weeks. Documentation may be required by city clerk upon request for leave time. And I don't know why I would think that would mean sick.
well, if you look at the first paragraph, last sentence, it says, however, an employee may use vacation or accumulated compensatory time. And I was just wondering if you're,
Well, they should be able to
Want
use
to
sick
use-
time there too, sick leave there too, don't you think?
I'm not sure maternity leave falls under sick pay.
Sick leave for
I'd
medical
consider being
reasons.
sick about it.
Yeah, but what if
Recovering from
their
surgery,
delivery is not
recovering
an
from
illness, and
illness,
delivery
huh?
is not a medical condition?
it is a medical condition.
Yes, and what if,
After the fact, though?
what if they had complications afterwards and something went wrong?
What if they're, are postpartum, anything, that is, you make sure you're
Well, we
saying
have
that
to
they need to have.
Clarify
a-
that with Myrma for sure.
Well, you're saying that they need to have a medical doctor say they can come back healthy, but yet we're not letting them use that as a sick time or.
Yeah, because it says
So-
without pay, they're taking this maternity leave without pay. Or parental leave to qualified employees without pay.
Yeah, so if you're going to want a medical release, that's anything, medical, they should be able to use sick time as well. But that's, it was just something I wanted to question and throw out there. Because a lot of times you are allowed to use sick time for medical reasons, and that is a medical reason. It's just like you said, just like surgery.
But
just
they
like-
could have surgery to have a child, they could have complications after surgery.
Well, they're in the hospital, yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Myrma.
So medical is medical, but,
Well, it tells you, some of it, they can use whatever they have saved up, but they're not to exceed 12 weeks, which is 3 months.
But
And
there
then-
is exceptions to that. There
Well,
is
sure,
exceptions
but-
to that.
and sick time is earned, just like vacation time is earned.
That's something we have to see what.
Yeah, I take it
See what
needs to be after
I'm
the
sure.
one just put, sick leave or sick pay.
Because I know, in previous employers, they would, the employees would save their sick time. They would purposely save their sick time when they are pregnant because they know they're going to need it for recovery afterwards.
So vacation or accumulated comp time or sick pay?
Okay, I'm a little confused. So why would they get short-term disability over sick for a pregnancy? It's not like they're disabled where they can't work, they are taking a leave because they're having a child. That's not a disability, so why
Yeah,
would,
but if
why
you got
would
a
we be paying
short-term
for short-term though?
Short-term, if you got post,
Yeah.
it can get bad for some
The
people.
short-term disability does cover some maternity leave.
So
Some.
we would want them to exhaust all their resources first before you would put them on
Yes.
short-term.
So we
That's
need to
why I'm
add,
asking.
we need to add sick time on here.
I would advise that. They've earned it, they've worked for it, they should be able to use it for,
Well, a lot of times they lose it anyways because nobody uses up their sick time. There's a lot of them who doesn't. And like you said, they earned it, and I would think it would kick in before short-term disability. Now, if they did have,
It does state it for the state combining leave. Employees can utilize their accrued pay sick time, parental leave, and FMLA leave to cover time needed for maternity leave.
Okay.
So we'll add September.
Yeah.
Okay, the absent without leave, any question on that one?
So definitely make sure that the temporary disability isn't contradicting the
Right.
first
We need to review the short-term disability.
for maternity leave.
Okay, on 32. Any questions? Comments?
Do we need to add the 1 year? They can't be employed for 1 year on that one.
On which,
The resignation. Or are we gonna, they can get rehired at any time?
they leave in good standing. Should be any time, I would think.
That would just pertain to an appointed official that was removed.
Right. No, we can't work for the city for a year after we
Right.
get out of office.
That was the only one I had. So regarding the resignation, it should probably, the notice, written notice should probably go to the immediate supervisor, not necessarily to the administrator.
Which one was that?
That was 23081.
Oh,
So we had wanted to go to the immediate supervisor.
first.
Correct. And then he would, or the supervisor would then make the proper steps to go to HR to do that. Also on involuntary termination, yes, we are at will. All employees are at will, so we may terminate them, but they are also at will, so they can leave us for any reason, for any cause. That is in the at will definition. So we'll need to add that to also say not only can we have the at will right, but they as well can leave.
So that kind of contradicts what we said back there in that one where if they don't
They
do
work
their,
out their well, that's
Two
if they don't
weeks.
work it out, they wouldn't be eligible for rehire.
Yeah, but if they can quit whenever they want to, it doesn't matter.
so it's at
Because they
will.
wouldn't have to.
What page is that on?
We think you
Sherry,
get there and
you
you
said
gotta
that
go.
was the last time.
I'm trying.
So that was, what was that on?
Rehire,
15.
18, did you say?
former
So,
employees who have been terminated for cause or who voluntarily resigned while facing discipline or in current litigation or did not, okay, we added that, or did not work out resignation given.
So just cross that last.
So if it's no call, no show, are they still eligible for rehire?
That no call, no show, it's just not showing up to work, that's different. But
Okay.
if there's no call, no show, and you didn't know they were quitting, then that's different.
Okay, so scratch out or did not work out resignation notice given.
right. Because that
And that
contradicts it over there.
unless approved by for extenuating circumstances, so that doesn't.
Which that could go to the first part of that sentence.
Yeah, but is there some way that that we can be protected for somebody just jumping up and saying, I don't wanna work here no more, I'm out of here, but then 6 months later, they come back and they're like, well, I wanna work again, and then you give them a job, and then 6 months later, like, nah, I don't wanna work again, and then we
You
can't
don't
keep
have
going
to-
down that
You
repeated
don't
path.
have to hire them back.
But can we legally put something in a
Not
file
according
or
to this.
something that states that,
Not eligible for rehire?
yeah? Is that something we could,
Well, you could stamp it in their personnel file.
and can you actually put like a reason why, because it's a repeated or they're not fit? I mean, I was just trying to look at every aspect on that too.
If it's in the policy and the employees sign the policy saying they read it, they understand it, and they fully agree to everything, then we can put in there everything that you need to, that not eligible for rehire due to whatever reasons. But we do need to make sure that they do sign.
Can that be added in with the employee right to leave?
For the at will,
Yes.
on the
On page 32,
32.
could that be addressed at that?
Or does it need to go under the rehire clause?
No, at will is, we are an at will state, so they have that right to do that. I don't think we can say they are not eligible for rehire on that one, because that is a right.
Let's just
But
say that
no
they
call,
have
no
a right.
show is not a right, that's abandonment of a
Right.
position.
But so we could put that under the rehire section stating that,
For the at will, just
well, no,
leaving
for
this-
non-rehirable, if
They don't work out their
there's-
resignations, the 10-day notice.
due to their circumstances. I mean, they can willingly quit, but, I mean, if
They can quit and not tell us a cause either. They can just,
Right, but if they've given a 10-day notice,
oh, they've given
they
a
give a
notice.
10-day notice, and then 2 days later, they don't show up.
But that's still at will.
but that would be under the no
No,
call, no show.
no.
Yes.
They gave a 10-day notice.
Right, and then
When
2
she's
days
talking about
later.
at will, I come into work, I finished work today, I'm just not, I'm done, I'm at will
Okay.
employee, I'm just,
But you
walking
said you quit.
But
Same
you,
thing.
you have to tell that to somebody.
right, in other words,
They-
if they're
you
gonna,
just
if they
don't show
wanna
up.
stay in good standing with the city,
Right.
they're gonna give a 2-week notice, which is kind of so what? But then if they decide they're only gonna work 3 days out of that 2 weeks, like, well,
But-
okay, then
And
the
if they
employee.
There are
don't-
circumstances on that too, because if they've got comp time coming, then they have the right to use that comp time in the last 7 days.
But they have to say something, they just can't
Not until they
not
quit.
show up.
No, they've still got comp time coming. I mean,
But that's not, at that point in time, that's not working it out. It says on the comp time, you have to get permission from your supervisor to do such. When an employee quits, comp time has to be paid out regardless.
Okay, so what it boils down to is we gotta figure out if they have to give a legit, say, 2-week notice, and they don't fulfill that 2-week notice,
Right.
even though we're a hire at will, fire at will, leave at will, whatever, there's got to be circumstances because they did not fulfill.
That's the no call, no show. If they didn't tell anybody, didn't call their supervisor and say,
But
I'm
if
not coming
they-
back, they just,
But if they call 2 days later, they've given a 2-week notice, and then call in 2 days later and say, I'm not coming back.
so then that's not a no call, no show.
Right.
That's a
They're
fact.
leaving at will,
They're leaving at will.
but can we put something in or as not eligible for rehire? Is that a reason for not eligible for rehire?
That's
I don't know if you
a
can
fine
do that.
line.
See, that's, yeah,
I
unless,
can get
unless
touchy
it's
there.
in their job description that if they decide to terminate their own employment, they are required for a 2-week notice. If not fulfilled, then they may be added to a non-rehire list or something kind of in that. Am I
No.
making sense?
Well, I guess that legally, because of that, well, we might not be able to do that. But it should be somebody that's been an employee and comes back as a rehire, that previous personnel file should be looked at. And if they left,
Right.
it
On
didn't
bad
work out
conditions
there,
or terms, then
Just
that
that
would
would
be
be in
in
their
the
personnel
supervisor's
file.
division. It should be, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
just
that
put it-
could be addressed in the personnel file.
Right.
So on page 18, we're taking out, or did not work out resignation notice
Right.
given, and unless approved by city administrator for extenuating circumstances.
Right.
We're taking out that unless, or adding?
Yes, taking it out.
Yeah, just the or did not work out resume, yeah.
yeah, because in a sense, regardless, it's not fair to us as an employer that they can just drop us at, you know, when they want to and then expect us to hire them back and then do the same thing, repeated. And then when one person says, well, all we gotta do is just tell them you're out of there, and then they all start dropping like flies, and then they come back and want a job, it's kind of difficult on our part because you really don't, and it's not being discriminating, you just don't trust them as an employee, as a committed employee to stay with you. So there should be something to protect us and that we can see that says, okay, wait a minute, we've hired him 5 times. He stays 6 months and
We
he's
just
gone.
put it in their
You
personnel
know,
file.
so maybe we shouldn't hire him anymore. Maybe there's some little thing in there that says, look, you know, you're just not on the rehireable list, you know. Because like department stores, they put them, if they steal, they're on the non-rehireable list because they stole.
They broke a law.
They broke a law, exactly. But see,
So,
then again, even though they're not breaking any law, the employer still needs some kind of
right.
protection from that.
We might be able to, I'm gonna look it up for the state of Missouri.
Because if they wanted to be
Right.
jerks about it, they say, well, I'll get a lawyer because it's a hire at will, fire at will, it's a, I can leave at will, and, but we have got to have that little protection for us.
Right. We might be able to put in their file, not recommended for
There we go.
rehire.
Right.
But let me look that up. Let me see what we can and can't do. I just think, I'm gonna check the Missouri's laws.
Because there's got to be something to help protect the employer also.
Yeah, and I think we might be able to just say, we do not recommend it for rehire, because we're not just saying no, you know,
Well,
but,
it's kind of like when you call for a reference. They're not allowed to ask certain questions. It's a yes or no. So that would kind of be on, like us too. You know, if we looked at it and if we didn't recommend it, we could say yes or no.
right.
Do you understand what I'm saying on
Yeah,
that?
well, and a lot of times, when you call for references and recommendations or that we get the phone call, all we say is, this is the date they were hired, this is the date they left. And then usually if the HR person who's calling is any good, they'll take that as approved.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
but
because
I
you're
would
limited
make
on
that.
what you can say.
Right, I would just make that standard practice, to say, I can tell you that they were hired on this date, and I can tell you that their last day was this day. We don't say whether they're fired, we don't say whether they resigned, and that is all we say.
Okay.
You have to go back to 29 for the vacation because the police department is different. And it probably needs to be confirmed that that is what they're getting, but it's 56 hours after 112 after 3 years, and 168 after 15 years.
She looked at it. Oh, that's a
In the
different
old-
thing. Oh, okay,
Old book.
okay,
Okay, we're on page 33 now, I think.
yes.
I thought we were still on 32.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
32?
So,
Okay, you still got something on 32?
Separation of pay. So on the bottom, it says compensatory time up to 80 hours, the pay period following separation. So does that mean you'll pay them 80 hours, and then if they have more, you'll pay them the next week?
Well, the way it is now, because comp time can't get dropped in until after the pay period, so then everything that was due comp time was paid out the next pay period. We don't want to pay any comp time. Because you wouldn't have a record of what was used that week or earned that week. So it's gotta be all of it, but unused vacation and comp time, we have to pay all of it, even if it's more than 80 hours.
So in other words, it's, you get your final pay that week, and then the following week you get your compensatory.
The following week, you'd get your comp time. Am I saying this right?
We might need to change the wording.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
I
a-
believe that. Will be paid 100% of any used vacation and compensatory time.
After the final pay or something, after,
Didn't we change that instead of, no, we changed it from pay
To
week
the
to
next
period?
pay period.
On separation.
And did we put the comp time at
Oh,
80 hours? Because they're not supposed to have more than 80.
Right, but we can't, we have to pay it all.
Yeah.
But pay period, the pay period following separation, that's, yeah, the pay period following separation date, I guess we should say.
Yeah, but if you quit on a Tuesday, then you get paid on,
Friday through that week though, because the comp used or comp earned through Wednesday.
I'm not, so what I'm meaning by it is, it says upon separation from city employment, a full-time employee will be paid out 100% of any unused vacation time and compensatory time up to 80 hours. So the up to 80 hours is what I'm concerned with, because we have quite a few
Right,
above that.
I think that needs to be taken out of there, the up to 80 hours.
So it'll just take that out, and then it'll say compensatory time.
time, yeah, in case there is some that,
time,
'cause that would
up to
cover,
80 hours.
Will be paid, okay,
The
will
pay
be paid the following pay period,
following
the
separation.
pay period following separation. If you just forget the 100% at this time. Upon separation from city employment, a full-time employee will be paid
Any,
the
100%
pay
of any-
period following separation. I don't,
No, it
Is
could
there
be
easier
a
way to-
full-time employee would be paid 100% of any unused vacation and company time.
The pay period
Following the
separation.
following pay period.
For the
How
pay
about-
period following.
for the pay period following
yes.
separation.
Okay, that's all we needed was for,
For.
yes.
Okay, so, and,
So
I
if
don't guess we got anybody that way anymore. We had somebody that had like, at one point in time, I think had like, what, 6 months duty?
Oh, yeah, close to 700 hours.
Yeah. And I guess that was an agreement between them and the city to pay it out over a period.
Yeah,
Okay.
but once we get everything leveled back out.
Well, it totaled up to be like
that
14.
again.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, it was crazy.
We
If
have to-
if we ever get back into this situation, we want
That's
to.
when you
be able
have
to
your
it
time
work.
card in your garage.
Right, yep.
Scratch out the up to 80 hours and insert the word FOR, for the pay period. Or on the pay period following.
What if we were to just put a period after comp time? And then say payment will be received, or payment will be processed?
Good, good, good.
Payment will be processed,
The following pay
following.
period.
the following pay period.
Some expect it the day after they, or 2 days after they quit. and
They want the,
There's no way you can do that.
right,
Well, it don't all get accumulated until after you.
right.
Right, we need to, does that work for everybody? We need to back it up one there to disability. that's kind of random. I mean, if you're gonna tell somebody that's just had a baby that in 12 weeks you're gonna be back to work, which is 3 months, somebody with something that happened, you know, and they're going through, I mean, how long are we gonna keep their job position open? Minimum of 12 weeks, just like they were pregnant, if they'd been in a car accident and had a hip problem, you know, I mean, see what I'm getting at is if they had a bad injury and it took longer than 3 months to heal a hip, you know what I'm saying?
Well, they could do that by getting something from their physician stating that it may be permanent or it may interfere with your job performance, and they recommend you to sign up on disability, and you will no longer, there's circumstances like that that you can, I mean, you can give them so long, but then if they are not.
That's what I just asked, how
Right.
long do we give them?
That's
You
what
just
we
did.
need to, because I
Yeah,
know when I had my bad car wreck, it went from,
I mean, instead of a
January to
period
August,
of time,
and then I
you
could
turn
walk.
in there.
A specific
And
amount.
so did they save your job for you?
yes. Well, I went in for therapy every day, and then I'd go down there and, yeah, I did my job on crutches, but I can't
that's-
say I was
that's
doing my
not-
full job,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
It's
saying?
kind of tough to be climbing down in the ditch
What
trying to
if it
dig out a
was-
sewer line.
what if we state, where an employee is unable to return to work until medically discharged, or something like that? To where the doctor will release them, because more than likely it will go on whether a doctor releases them to return to work or not.
Well, we did ask for a medical release, right, from the doctor. Anything beyond that, we need to look at FMLA rules and
Right.
laws regarding that.
It
So-
says that, like, if we can make specific accommodations, that if we're not capable of doing that, we can fire them because we are an at-will state.
Right.
Okay.
So it's, I mean,
This would apply the same.
So we don't have, but what about holding a job open for them for if the doctor says, oh, they'll be better in a month? Do we want to, is there a,
I mean, it says if we can put them in a different position, then we try to do that, not specifically theirs that they were in. That's where the accommodations would come in, but if we can't, then that's where, I think with Calvin, we should have a time limit on that.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I
that
just
could be
wanna-
for immediate. I mean, if we know they're not capable of filling their position and we don't have another one available, I would totally understand, but if the doctor says, oh, they'll be better in 2 months, are we gonna hold that position open? Because then we know in 2 months they'll be able to fulfill that position still?
Well, and this
Or,
applies to undue hardship, so gotta look at that too. It wouldn't be every job in the city.
Well,
but-
what I'm trying to avoid there is just, I don't want to say this, I mean, it's like, well, it'll work for that one, but it won't work for this one. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I mean, if we're gonna give somebody with maternity leave
For
3
12
months
weeks.
and hold their job, why can't we do the same then and say for
Exactly.
disability, if something was to happen, minimum is gonna be 3 months, we'll hold your job.
Or
yeah,
12
there's
weeks.
there's a law, I think, that's how long we need to hold their
It
job.
depends on
open.
the circumstances and
Sure.
injury too,
Yeah.
so.
I'll look that up, see if there's something
I
out
should,
there.
I think we should put in there, just like the maternity leaves, 12 weeks, you know? Because
Well, I
I think
just don't-
that's discriminating
Right.
if you got a problem, you know, but this woman over here didn't have a problem, and you got 12 weeks, then I can get 4, and you move my job, you know? So,
But the maternity leave, we can plan. We know that's coming.
yeah, but
You know,
it's
the guy
still,
that-
it's still sick
Yeah.
leave or disability or what.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think maternity is
That's
really,
why
to
you
me,
got-
is not even a disability. I mean, maybe it is, but I wouldn't
If
think.
the disability part is you're not able to perform your job.
Right.
Well,
but
women
the
have babies, go
FMLA
back to work in a month.
FMLA will really probably govern this.
This says that there are no strict predefined time limits for returning to work from disability.
Unless we put one on it. So I think we ought to put 12 weeks on there, just like with the maternity. Anybody have a problem with that?
The 12
Yeah,
weeks.
but it does need to.
I mean, if we're gonna do it for,
One,
yep, I agree.
So the period of time would be 12 weeks.
For a 12-week.
And
period of time for 12 weeks, which would be cause, well, that's gonna have
Which
to
would
be all
cause undue
reworded.
hardship. Yeah, so if it doesn't cause an undue hardship, then you don't have to worry about it.
For 12 weeks.
Well, yeah,
We just take out a period of time and put in 12 weeks.
for a period of 12 weeks.
And just
Then
say
it
for
said,
12 weeks.
and then
would
you could
would.
put if this caused an undue hardship to the city to hold the position open.
And then after that, I still think you probably gotta go, because it's gonna cause an undue hardship to the city to have to hire a clerk.
The undue hardship's going to be holding it for 12 weeks.
Right.
What do you think?
I think
Sure.
that works, as long as we put in there 12 weeks, which would cause an undue hardship, we should be okay.
Okay, go through 32,
Please.
33. I have a question about the very last paragraph. Has anybody got something before that?
Which one? The last?
On 33, yeah, the very last.
I
The
have one.
privately owned vehicles, we need to start having this adhered to. Like those that come to City Hall and make deposits, one that goes to the bank.
Do we not have a city hall vehicle?
Are they being paid for the mileage?
Well, we do, but no, they haven't been. We
Okay,
do,
if they're
but
not being
how they
paid
could all
for-
share it from one point.
No, I mean, like
For the deposit from the City Hall, yes.
Yes.
We could get that thing back up here. But like Ernie makes a deposit.
I mean, I'm not.
Senior center?
Center. It's not always an employee that does
No,
that.
that's board members that does that.
If we're reimbursing them for using their personal vehicle, I can see where we would need to abide by this, but if we're not,
Right, well, we're not now, no.
yes, then I would say that they shouldn't be required to have that coverage. If
Isn't
that's
that very minimum anyway?
the minimum or full.
Well, I mean, they're maintain minimum 25, 50, 25. Isn't that what Missouri law minimum is? I mean, on your vehicle? I don't know. I really, I don't have looked at mine.
I don't either, I've got full coverage, so I'm not sure.
We are not right now requiring them, but I've told Ernie I want mileage from him. And we need mileage from McKenna because I believe we're putting the city at risk, letting, if McKenna's on her way to the bank with the deposit, gets into an accident, she's on city business, what liabilities does that give the city?
So we're-
Well, what does Myrna say about covering that employee and
That's what Myrna says, I believe, is what's right here.
Yeah, we need to require proof of insurance and we need to pay them for mileage.
Okay, why
pool
haven't we got an assessment on all city vehicles? We need a list of every runnable city vehicle. And if one department has 3, one has
I've
4,
got that list.
then
If you
it
want-
needs to be separated where
It's at the airport
each
right there.
department has a city vehicle to their access at all times.
I've
That
got
would
that list
stop
and
it.
I can get that list for you.
Wouldn't that make sense?
Like
People that
employees,
fly in, no.
why are we having people that fly in that don't work for the city driving a city vehicle?
And the airports out there, you know, it's not,
Yeah, but if
There's
it's a
Uber.
vehicle,
they do
that's a
pay, they
liability.
do pay to use that car.
Yeah, but there's Ubers around here.
that's airports, one of those departments that needs to be evaluated.
Okay, I mentioned we need an assessment of every vehicle that the city owns and how many is in each department. If one department has 3 and one department has none, why does that one have 3 and this one has none? Why can't the vehicles be,
I believe that information is being collected.
I have got that information.
And
Do
that
you want
would
me to bring it
prevent
now,
personal
or do you want
use,
me to bring
wouldn't
it to the, I can bring it to the August meeting?
well, that would prevent
That's gotta
personal
be
use?
one of those evaluations
Well,
of the departments and
I'm
everything.
pretty
That's
sure-
gonna take some time. That, you know, she
Actually,
needs to
I'm
be
pretty
doing that.
sure that this was talked about when I worked for the school. Okay, let's say somebody's working for the city and they are taking a deposit to the bank and something happens, because they are doing city business, regardless of what they're driving, they're covered by the city. Now, whether they have insurance on their vehicle or not, it makes no never mind, because they are doing city business. Now, the minute they drop off that money at the bank and leave the bank, you cannot control where they go at that point. So they're either going home or they're going to somewhere else. The city's liability at that point stops.
So
Because I know that when I
But what
worked
if they
for,
go into the bank
And
and
coming
then
back to
coming
work
back
there.
to City Hall and have a rep right up here?
they're still covered because they're doing city business coming back to the city.
But we need to find out if that's how the insurance works.
Yeah.
To make
We
sure.
should check this
Well,
page
I think every
33 with
department ought to
Mark.
have their
And
own vehicle.
every vehicle anybody owns by the law of the state of Missouri, if you're a licensed vehicle, you are supposed to have insurance
Right.
regardless. And so my thing is I don't know what the city asking for that I don't think that
Because the
pertains to
City Hall
it.
has a van, so really, McKinnon should drive the van to the bank.
Well, it doesn't matter what I say, that if you're doing, and the lawyer was one that explained that to us down in school, that if you're actually doing school business and saying, okay, we're doing this for the school, we're hiring, or we're hauling football gear, let's say, to a game,
No.
and something happens and you're with a private vehicle, you're covered because you're hauling stuff to the school there and back. Same difference, I would think, with the city and Myrna.
We need to check with Myrna on this for sure.
Yeah, because
And
I
as far
have to
as
set deposits for Walmart in my
vehicles,
personal vehicle.
I really
They
think
covered
that
me
she's
the
got
whole
to
time.
evaluate
You have to, by law,
Yes,
probably.
yes.
Okay, she's talking about the
Right.
vehicle.
regarding the vehicle list and that kind of stuff, because Trish will be evaluating each department and will take up the vehicle issue at that time.
Can we look into the liability of having people that don't work for the city driving it from the airport? I would like that looked into, because I think that's a major liability for us.
Well, so do we want to keep this, I think the city requires a regular user, blah, blah, blah. But by saying we need to make sure they have insurance, I don't think we need to do such. Because if you're doing city business, the city is covering you regardless.
But she said Myrna.
I believe
insisted
this
on
is from Myrna though, that's why I'm asking
Okay.
Trish to check with Myrna
Okay,
on.
all right.
Yeah, but I'm with you on that, Gail, too, about the airport. You know, there is people in town that does Uber and Lyft, so why couldn't they?
They take that car to the river, or down to Emmons to, not down on the river, but yes, they have. They've taken it down here. What is the,
Current?
yeah, no, right
Well, I
there. in
thought they were
Emmons.
driving in here like to have lunch at Main Street.
I don't know, there are 6 of them that get in that car
Sounds
every
like
year
somebody needs to open a
and
rental
drive
car
it
place
down
around
to
here.
whatever that lodge is down there in, on
Echo
Jackson.
Bluff, is that what you're talking
That would be a couple.
No, right there in Emmons. so-
Cedar Lodge?
about? Oh, there's 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, right there
Okay,
across the bridge.
We will have to
Oh,
check.
down there at the
Yeah,
trail
again,
rides
The
and stuff?
airport is not,
Non-city employees are not supposed to drive city cars, that's Myrna. Because I'm supposed to check driver records of anybody who's gonna drive a city car, and I'm supposed to check them yearly.
well, because there
I
was a
don't
red
think a
courtesy
passenger
car down there.
Can
It's
be
called the
a
courtesy
Yeah,
car.
courtesy
non-city
car.
employee.
Probably
And
not.
it
I
really
just
was
like
put
read
on
that.
there so they could come and get lunch or a restaurant, but
Well, that's why
Yeah, but
West
even
Plains,
still,
I've
that's
been
still
involved with West
allowed.
Plains.
That's why that one grant
Everybody
that
that works for the city of West Plains was required.
MoDOT
to
has
have
money
CDL.
for a sidewalk.
Required, because what they
the
said
airport
was,
from Extract.
their insurance, which is also Vermont, said that, well, if you
So if
got
one of
two
our
accidents,
city
that's
vehicles
it.
is in imminence and they have a wreck, that's
You got
not
a
gonna
truck
be good
that
on
needs
our part.
Now, let's check it out.
The guy,
Yeah.
the new guy, and
Okay.
whatever,
Okay.
he jumped in the truck and goes, get it, has a wreck.
Okay, any more questions on page 33?
No?
Could happen.
Okay, 34.
Now,
Uh,
meals
the
allowances for
meals,
travel?
is that enough?
No.
Up to,
us.gsa.gov, the government site, says meal allowances should be 16 for breakfast, 19 for lunch, and 28 for dinner, for a total of 63.
What was it now, how much for breakfast?
16 for breakfast, 19 for lunch, 28 for dinner.
what's the total I don't
Where
know?
were they?
63.
60,
63.
62.
So we need to change that second line where it says meal expenses for travel, that includes overnight stays, so it'll be subject for a daily maximum of 50 to 63.
Yes, ma'am, if they're gonna eat all 3 meals out. A lot of these things that you go to, though, that last one I went to, I had to pay for my own lunch, but I got free breakfast, so having meals out every meal is probably
Well,
not
that
gonna happen.
MML meeting, everything,
A lot of
breakfast
them,
was there.
they
Yeah.
furnish meals, so.
Okay.
Moving
All
on,
right,
35. 36.
35, I have highlighted 10. So are we going to enforce that with you as well?
That's a tobacco product.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up, just that it needs to be enforced.
It's been mentioned.
Okay.
Does it say in here, I thought I read in here.
Wait a minute, let's go back to
Back
that
on
one.
35.
Yeah, on that tobacco use, did you say just city vehicles, Gail?
This is the vehicle use policy. Somewhere else, there's a tobacco policy.
Yeah, I was just making
Products
sure that
policy.
she was specified.
Okay, yeah, because we need to go back to that tobacco, and they shouldn't be able to use it inside the buildings and anything
That's
too.
somewhere else.
Yeah, that's, is.
Yeah, we cut somewhere else. It's
Uh,
in here. It's in here somewhere. This
Um,
is just the vehicles.
On 1 and 2, I think we might want to add not just vehicles, but equipment as well, because that includes,
City vehicles and
Yeah.
equipment.
um, includes all our tractors and, I don't know what we have, but I'm gonna assume we have some of those.
Mowers.
Yeah, any equipment, but so it would have to be vehicles and equipment.
This is where it says that, no city vehicle can be used for transportation to and from work or personal use.
Which one was that one, Judy?
That's where I've read it, but I don't remember where it was
There's
at.
number 4,
Yeah,
Well,
it says,
city vehicles may only be used for legitimate municipal business, not for personal, not personal vehicles and not personal use. That should cover all of that.
what's the number of that?
2,
2.
Yeah.
So in other words, well, are you trying to say, Judy, that they are not supposed to be taken home? Is that what you're meaning by that?
Yep, yes.
Okay. Do we need to specify that they,
well, I think that specifies
Does
it.
that
It just
specify
needs to
enough?
be in that department evaluation.
And because I do know there's one, and I have seen with the wife going grocery shopping in it.
okay, so that would fall under what you're saying earlier, Calvin, that if it's not for city use, then the city does not have to cover it. So if they're taking it home as a personal vehicle, then the city is not liable.
It's a line by line, when I worked for the school, it was a line by line deal. In other words, let's say you had a driver that was way down in Birch Tree and the buses were up here in Mountain View. What they allowed that driver to do was to take that bus home and to keep it there. And that was a line by line. In other words, you had other drivers from Mountain View that were driving from Birch Tree because they lived in Mountain View. So they just had to drive and pick their own vehicle up, their own bus up. It's a line by line thing. If you're gonna allow somebody from the sewer department to take a truck home that belongs to the city, that's okay, but it has to be parked at home, let's say, back and forth, that's it. They can only use it for, they can't, at that point in time, they can't put 10 bales of hay out there and go feed
For
their
any
cattle or
personal use,
horses with
right.
it. They're supposed to strictly just bring it and take it, but it is a line by line, in other words, person by person, or job description.
Yeah, it would have to be with the job description almost.
I don't know of any reason for anybody in Mountain View, except for possibly the mechanic, to drive a vehicle home, maybe the mechanic, because they might want to come in at 2 o'clock in the morning with a broken down electric truck or something like that to work on that while they were out online or something.
No, that would still, it
Yeah.
would be no different than you driving to work on a day,
Right.
whether you're called in or not.
Right, but I was just
But I
trying to
think
think
what
of
Judy's
somebody.
getting
I
at
don't
is
see
when they
anybody
take
that
it
really
home,
needs to
like you
be-
said, and it has to be parked, then they shouldn't get in it and go
You're not allowed.
grocery shopping or go yard selling or go
Yeah.
out to dinner. It has to be parked
Well,
and
I
left
think
there
to solve the
until.
problem, just don't let nobody drive a city vehicle home, period.
Well, like I said, unless there's extenuating circumstances and they have been reviewed on
Right.
such, and that's what the school did.
Yeah, because then if they actually put somebody that is a non-city employee in there, then that makes the city liable for whoever that passenger is in that vehicle. And we can't afford to have that.
Okay, it's in there,
Okay,
so.
on 35, it's just to add to number
Right.
1 and equipment.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Hold on.
36, oh,
So number 15, where you are talking
on
about,
page 36.
yes, 36, number 15. So you have accident sporadically through other places. We really need to take it and do, here's a protocol for accidents, and then just reference 23-130, because you have this one on number 15, you have some more on 23.124, and then even more on 23.130. So we need to take all of those and put them in one area and do the full-blown out
Oh, yeah, I see what you're talking
protocol
about.
on this is how we handle an accident, including, I can wait till we get there, I guess, but.
You're talking about on page 40, the job injury and accident?
So, yeah, so there's, so 23.124,
So really, this
So,
15 needs to
yeah.
be moved somewhere else.
there's that, and then there's 23.130, two.
So we just need to take all of those and put them in one.
Yeah, and then you'll also want to, you will want to rethink some of this as well, but we can wait till we get to that point. Because there's a place where I believe you're letting the people have up to so many hours to take themselves to get checked out for a breathalyzer and so on. When an accident happens, the immediate person that gets called is the cops for one, so you get that police report. Supervisor for two, because that supervisor needs to go and take that employee to get a drug and alcohol test. They are not to go do it themselves.
Right, because things can be altered.
Right. So, so that, when we get to that point, we can talk that, because that does need to go to the responsibility of the immediate supervisor when there is an accident. That guy needs to, if he hit a deer, he needs to stay put the supervisor needs to come, take them to whatever clinic it is, get that.
Immediate.
Because in there you're saying, only if it's a major accident.
All right.
But these little things too, if
An
something swerve
accident's an
and-
accident.
right, period. I don't care whether there's damage or not. And we do want a police report because that's just an eyewitness to it. And your claims are probably going to, insurance companies are gonna want all of this information as well anyway. But to protect ourselves, we don't want to excuse him hitting a sign and say, oh, the no damage, no big deal. Because he
So-
could have, there could have been a reason behind that.
So as far as page 36, then we're really going to take 15 and move it somewhere.
Yeah, we're
Correct.
just going to, you can say something very vague, but we're going to reference it to a different page.
Okay.
So everything from here on out will be referenced to the main page that we want to put
Okay.
it all in.
So do we take it out or completely, or just,
Move it to the accident section,
So
which
we
we're
don't-
gonna create.
because like,
Yeah, we
that's
could
why
do
I'm asking
either.
like Sherry, do we need to just take that one out completely?
Yeah,
and
we're just gonna move this over to the, what you call it, the accident
Move
page.
it off of this
Off
page.
this page,
Yeah,
okay.
Let's talk about this page,
All right,
On to page 40, job injury and
36.
accident.
Anything else on page 36?
That's all I had.
Okay. 37? $38?
You know what?
Whoa, we
Back
missed
up.
one.
Yep.
Page 36, prohibition of firearms and weapons. I have wanted to say for quite some time that not being armed in City Hall is not very smart. We don't have a panic button. We have nothing if somebody comes through that door shooting at us. We have nothing if somebody comes through there and just starts beating on that wall will crumble.
you don't have no protocol, in other words, on.
We have no protocol, we have no
Defense.
Yes,
defense.
You know,
What
when
is
they
that
put the
gun?
wall,
There's a plastic,
There's it's called, if you don't want to allow anyone to carry, or at least have something up front, a few people. We watched on the TV quite a few sketchy people come in, and, nothing's bulletproof up there. There's a gun, if you don't want to go with the lethal weapon, it's called Byrna, B-Y-R-N-A. It's a Byrna gun. And you can buy a cartridge, you can buy pellets that are super, super hard, that will take a guy down, it'll hurt him really bad.
but it's not deadly.
It's not deadly, it's not lethal,
It's like rubber bullets, kind of,
harder than that.
but harder.
Or they also have tear gas ones that will bring them to the ground and a good span around them of 20 feet. If they even try to run and wash it off, it's going to make it worse. So that gives time for the police to come and get them.
I'm with her on a panic button too. I think, just like a bank, they have a silent button that they can engage to inactivate the police to that. So I could see City Hall possibly getting one of those too, because if they can mash that, the minute they can see that threat and they suspicion it, they can press that and the officer could be here like
I
that.
don't think so.
If they can be there like
Okay.
that.
So that,
That's some kind of a security system, so that doesn't have anything to do with this manual, so.
No.
Well, it'll have to be taken up at a later date.
that
But-
silent alarm, I can speak, Casey's has one, and that is pretty much immediately to our dispatch to us, even with Amanda not being in the office, that comes directly to us a whole lot quicker than anybody calling 911.
We have one as well. And
So
ours,
that's probably what we need to look into.
Yes,
we
But
have ours on a
that's-
keychain that you can carry around.
And that's for their protection.
what is the
Right,
feeling
but
of
that's
somebody carrying
pertaining
in
to
City Hall?
this manual.
Yeah,
Yes,
the prohibition
absolutely
of
not.
firearms.
Are you against somebody packing?
I
In
want
City
everybody
Hall,
to
yes.
pass.
Well,
The state of
This
Missouri.
is what we need to take up on page 36.
Right.
The security system will have to
Right.
come.
On page 36, the prohibition of firearms, the state of Missouri decided that we are now a concealed carry state. constitutional carry states, what they call it. I can put a gun in my purse and go anywhere I want,
But-
because the Constitution says I can. So
Except
that
in the
means all
federal
those,
buildings.
all those people up there, out
Except in
there,
the federal buildings.
and you think the criminals are gonna care if it's
I
a
didn't,
federal
I
building?
didn't say that, I just said that, because you
Except
go
for
through
federal.
We're not
you go through that detector right there, metal detector into a federal building, if you walk into one of them, then you're in trouble. I mean, Ted Nugent went into the,
But we're not federal,
Yeah,
we're
we're
oh,
city.
no.
So I really think you should allow,
I think you'll have to look into
Employees.
that, because I believe any government building, you're not allowed. So I would look into that first. Because like I've got my conceal and carry permit and went through all that, and I know it's changed since then, but I have government buildings specifically.
Is that a Missouri law?
Well, you're not allowed in the
That's-
post office as well.
Yeah.
Because I know in Colorado we can carry,
Everywhere.
we had one, almost all of us had one in the county, every county building we had.
Yeah.
So that might be a Missouri, perhaps.
I would check, just to
Yeah.
make sure.
Okay.
Regardless, we do have the alternative of the burn-on, which is a non-lethal. If you would like to go that route, allow them
But
to
again,
carry that.
that decision can't be made here.
Well,
That has to
I
be,
mean, the manual,
firearms and weapons.
yeah, you have firearms and weapons, either we remove that or we make a decision. So if you definitely, I mean, a burn-on could be considered a weapon. It's not a lethal weapon, but it's a weapon. So it basically,
who would
you
you
need to
allow,
decide
is that
whether
just
you're
gonna be
gonna
laid
allow.
somewhere?
well, any of the girls can have it in their purse or have it under,
Carrying
the,
his playing
counter.
that's opened it up way too much.
so
Yeah.
it's,
With this, I can't even carry pepper spray in my purse. Which is, walking, right now it's not a problem, but in the winter, it's dark. What if I'm here alone and everybody else, because a lot of times they're all gone, 4:30, they're gone. And it takes me an extra 5 minutes, so I'm walking out to my car alone.
I think we should adjust that.
Well, and this says while operating a city vehicle. This doesn't have anything to do with,
Right.
If somebody's driving with mace and a purse, they're driving in a vehicle with a weapon.
Also, these guys are going out to some pretty secluded houses that still are in the city and turning off utilities.
not super
I
safe.
want to be armed.
well, and even them, they might be in the city vehicle.
Yeah, that's what I say,
Yeah.
they might be in a city vehicle doing shut-offs or whatever. I want to be able to protect myself if I were them.
Well, this is applying to city vehicles, but we need to apply it to them.
I don't know if you're
That should
actually-
be under, not just under vehicle use, it should be under general.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna prohibit it, you
I
have
mean, I
to.
don't know.
Well, I'm not specifically against it, but if we did it, they have to have training.
Well, I think that might be, it would just open up so much.
I know.
Or you
But
just take it out.
The way that the times are changing, we have to adjust for that also.
Yeah,
They're not
because
gonna
I think
have
the
a lot
panic
of-
button will be a good start, but again,
But
yeah.
mace, I think we should add mace to it, we should be able to do that. If they have a safety device that they prefer, they should be able to do that.
Well, as
Maybe
long as it
specific-
ain't
If they've got a
weapon.
permit, first of all, we need to check and see if you can have it in government buildings, okay?
This
And if
says,
they've got a permit to pack, then I think they,
Then
You
any
know, I don't want-
employee, any employee that's in any vehicle or in any office,
this says,
Could be armed.
in Missouri, it is generally not allowed to carry firearms in state government buildings, but there are exceptions for those with valid Missouri conceal and carry permits, specifically members of General Assembly, legislative employees, and statewide elected officials holding a valid Missouri conceal and carry permit.
So
You're
it
allowed.
doesn't say not, it just says in general.
says state
State.
too, it doesn't say city, so I think cities are kind of whatever
And we
y'all
can, we
decide.
got, pretty sure if we talk to Marvinville, we can make our own rules on site. They
Missouri
might want to
State
look and see
Capitol
how
has
much it'll raise
restricted
our
areas
insurance
for
here.
firearms. But
Well,
if they have their concealed
I
carry,
don't think they can raise
then
it legally because it's a constitution. That would be discrimination.
Yeah,
I don't have no problem with it myself.
Well, and like Terry was saying, the guys sometimes have to go do what, turn off water,
Mhm.
collect in a city vehicle. And they're not, and if you pull up on someone's property around here,
What is the liability to the city?
they would have to have specific training too, though.
Yeah.
Like you just can't, I mean, not saying that people don't know how to shoot here, but, I mean,
I
take
think
the
you
concealed
have-
carry class.
You know, right now, you don't even have to have a permit, you know what I'm saying?
You don't.
I do think they need training and a permit to pack.
We
yeah.
can
Well,
give them
There
an
is no
option.
requirement for a permit.
we can introduce the option, if they want to purchase a Byrna weapon, they're allowed to take that with them. I mean, some kind of weapon for safe, for self-defense, for
Well, you
safety.
can classify it as protection instead of a weapon, it could
Right.
be protection for their safety.
It is
So you
protection.
pull up to Earl's house and you go to pop in his meter and he loses his electricity, he may not be too happy.
I don't know anybody that would be. And it
And
is
some people take it
considered,
personally.
yeah, it is considered
It's
non-lethal.
one that can do it.
That's why you can take it anywhere
We have
and not get,
we have motion sensors
not get.
and a back door sensor, front door sensor.
Would that-
And they can do a panic button.
Do what? Sorry, I was listening over here.
About like the non-lethal stuff, I mean,
I can just-
So there's- I'm not trying to step on toes or anything, there's no such thing as non-lethal. No such thing, there's less lethal, like even if
There's no
I,
such thing as what?
non-lethal. So even with these tasers, if I were to say, I mean, in our training with them, if I were to aim too high or hit somebody in the neck, the face, something like that, it could kill them. And then same thing with allergic reaction to pepper spray. I mean, there's no, absolutely no non-lethal thing. But with the less lethal, what she's talking about, legality speaking, that's gonna hold up a whole lot better in court because you're not gonna have some random person that doesn't have their concealed carry permit, that somebody's aggravated out there, they're getting mad, they lose their cool, end up smoking some dude through the window over there. You know what I mean? Like us, we get yelled at all the time. We've gone through the training, we know how to keep our composure, but who's to say, I'm not accusing anybody, but who's to say somebody's not gonna lose their cool and smoke some dude through the window over here? And then cities at fault because we allow firearms to be here. And then, once again, that goes on state laws. Technically, you can't even touch your firearm until you feel absolutely threatened that your life is in danger. You cannot protect property, you have to protect human life via state law. So,
So is that firearm or weapon? So you can't use anything as a weapon, like a pen or anything to stab them in the eye?
there is gray areas
Yeah.
because of the constitutional carry, but that's ultimately up to the judge. I mean, same thing with me, God forbid I have to pull my firearm and use it. Everything gets looked at. They say, oh, okay, well, he was justified, or, oh, no, he wasn't justified. I'm going to jail, it doesn't matter, and I'm trained. So that's my only concern. Like I said, I'm just the officer here. But that's my only concern is if we allow people to come into a government building and, like I said, they lose their cool. We're all people, they lose their cool. Something happens out there. That's a huge, huge liability.
It would be a really good idea to have training if you,
Can we contact Myrna and ask them? With, like I said, with the times changing now, we should have some sort of way of defending ourselves to
Yeah,
see if
because-
they have recommendations.
yeah, because regardless of that thing right there, they would done been through it and doing what they intended on doing before you had a minute to even hear it beep.
Yeah.
because there is some people out there that,
Bad guys don't care about the laws.
no, no.
Okay, anything else on 36? 37, going once, going twice. 38,
I got it. Third paragraph on 2314, or 114. So on this one,
That's saying whenever, Terry sent us the email.
yes. I don't specifically think that it should be worded this way, but I don't know how it should be worded.
the whole thing,
That third paragraph.
such expectation of personal privacy. Well, the bad thing is that so many people use their personal cell phones for
Right.
city business because we don't, well,
You don't
we
furnish
don't
yourself
furnish
up.
them. We were paying for them and nobody was using them, so
Right.
we got.
But I don't think just because Terry would send me an email, or you, the mayor sends me an email, that gives the city a right to inspect my phone. Or I don't see even if,
It's not the city's right to inspect your phone, that would be law enforcement or.
I know, but just because if I got mad at you and said, well, I think Calvin was doing city business on his personal phone,
Can we just strike that whole, especially the city.
Just leave my
reserves the
personal
right-
phone.
Well, you can't, because
Well, if you're
Sunshine
conducting and she's sending emails, regardless if it went to our phones, it come from the city side first, so there would always be that copy, regardless if it was on our phone or not. She would have the original that was sent,
Take
so.
it.
Hers, the text is gonna be on her personal cell phone.
Yeah, text is gonna be on a personal cell phone, so I will
That's-
not send you text.
That's why it needs to be on.
Well, it
My
should-
emails are on my.
The
Gmail.
emails, then there's a retention of the record for custodial
From her end.
records purposes.
From her end, but then they wouldn't have a right to go into our personal stuff because it would already be from her
We're
end,
talking
as
about
long as
emails.
emails, yes.
This is talking about,
anything.
Yeah, but it says on that, the middle, the city reserves the right to review, retain, monitor, and extract personal or city-related data, including but not limited to emails, text. I just don't agree to that.
well, what if we take that out, but leave it, there's no expectation of privacy, and then any such electronic information should not be deleted unless properly backed up on a city computer,
So
if it's city business anyway.
there's a slight problem with this is because you guys don't have a city email. Everybody's using their own Google account to make a Gmail. We just say city clerk. Everything here is private. We're using our cell phones for everything. We're using our own Gmail account for everything, which is why today we worked on, and we're still working on getting a website that will carry all of that. So we'll have our business, and that will eliminate the whole email problem. But if you are gonna want to call us outside of our phone on our desk, we need a city cell phone. We should not be doing anything, especially for the government, on any of our personal stuff, which is a huge expense. But for road and bridge and some of those, you could get those one, I think they're called 800 phones that are like walkie-talkies, but really good, which is a lot cheaper than getting everybody a cell phone. That's so they can communicate with each other. However, supervisor should probably, because if the supervisor has to contact any of us, they should probably have their own cell phone, because we're not gonna have an 800 walkie-talkie or whatever those things are called. So there are cheaper options, but we do need to get away from personal. Everything is personal use right now. And that is
when people put in a work order, no matter what department it's for, they take a picture of the work order and send it on the cell phone, on her, Rachel sends it from her personal cell phone to Zach or whoever, Johnny, sends it to the supervisors. Because that's how you can get a hold of them. Otherwise, how are you gonna get a hold of the trash guy that's out there on the truck?
They don't come in every day and just get a work order and ask?
He can come in tomorrow morning and get it, but you're not gonna get your dumpster dumped until tomorrow, and you're gonna be angry because your dumpster's overflowing.
I did not know. I mean, but the thing is, that I would have just assumed they'd come in and got a work order, and, or else they would have called down there.
But he's in the truck. He's running around in the
No,
truck.
there's a phone down there in the office, and there's always people down there.
But he's in the truck. He's not down there at the office, so how are they gonna get a hold of him on the truck to tell him he's got a work order?
That's what I said. I mean, if you come in this morning and there's a work order, you take care of it during the day. Come tomorrow, if you take it at 3 o'clock, you come in and get a work order, they can't get it until tomorrow. That's just how it works. That's my feeling is,
Well, but the way it is now, as soon as they get a work order that's sent out and the citizens have come to expect it to be done in the next hour.
Yeah.
The society expects things to be done
Right
now,
then, yeah.
So that
right
won't-
now.
So as far as this, then we should probably take the complete thing out about personal electronics and take this up as another issue.
To look into.
Yeah, we're working on that to eliminate, get rid out of all of this. We'll hopefully be presenting you with some costs
23,
next.
114, just the whole thing. Be reviewed.
Well, I would leave that all personal electronic devices are prohibited from connecting to any city network.
Right. If you read that, it's
The
all,
city will not be responsible for maintenance or any of that stuff.
I got all.
if you read the whole thing, it's all about, we're not supposed to be using personal electronic devices for any kind of city. You know, when you call the
Expected for
supervisor,
the
you
use of
call.
city-owned devices.
Right.
Yeah, maybe take out that
And then we'll do the whole-
one paragraph and leave this, the rest of it in there for right now. Everybody agree on that one?
We could have that.
Sure.
Taking out that
Social
third
media
paragraph.
Yeah, the third paragraph.
With the website.
Okay, we'll just shoot
For right now, we'll just
Yes.
remove that third paragraph.
that. Okay.
Okay, now we can move forward.
yeah, I had to do a word or something, because I asked that one lawyer for library, and he said just as soon as that information is put onto my phone, there is no expectation of privacy. In other words, if he wants to see what the city, I mean, that's okay, I can show him. I don't even, but if you wanted to get technical, they would have to have a sunshine request specifically to the date of when a message was sent to a private phone.
But unless it's a record under the guidance of the custodian of records,
Well, that's only,
she can only grant a sunshine request with the records that she has in her
right, but that's all
custody.
I'm receiving is
But you
whatever
don't-
he sends out.
Right. They can request her for a copy of what she sent to you.
They can also request me, because I asked the lawyer about it, Liber said so, that if it comes through on a phone, they can also give me a sunshine request, and I have to provide such for them. But they have to give me a date that this was done. Not the time, just the date. If it's August the 23rd, and there's nothing on here, August the 23rd.
How can they give a sunshine request to an individual person?
I'm not an individual person at this point. We are all elected officials.
Only
And-
when you're in a quorum.
Okay.
So we have a way to eliminate that. We've talked about this, if the open record request, Sunshine Law, will go through the website. So we will be able to create a form because we have 3 days to get back to them. So we need a form that tells us exactly what it is specifically they are asking for, because when they do something so vague, I mean, we could send them a million things. So we're gonna make it very simple, ask specific questions. Everything needs to be dated on that, and then we'll also have the date stamp of when that particular request has come into. We're gonna create an email specifically for those open records requests, so that we can fulfill them within the 3-day mandatory time, and we have a record of everything. And then that way it's not going to anybody's phone, nobody's personal email. It'll all be gone through the website. And as of right now, if we want to implement something, we should create a form and have those forms be available. I don't know how you do it out here, how you want, if you have to do a hard copy or what. And then it be either handed to someone who can date stamp it as received, when it's received, or we can create an electronic one. They can call and ask for it. We can send it to their email, but they have to bring it back to who's, I think they'd have to send it to her email. We have it stamped. So this is to keep track and fulfill our obligations and our timeline.
So this would mean that with the new website, we would be given email addresses through this website and not personal for them, because you can't send us all the same thing at once. So we all have to have it individual. So through this website, it would be an official email through them and not a personal.
Absolutely, and we're going to have a little area where you can go and click on, an open
Log
records
in.
request. They'll fill out the form, they hit submit, and it'll go to we're going to create an open records email. So it'll go to that open records email. So if she's absent, I can go in there and look and say, I better get these done.
Okay, so the question now is on page 38, are we leaving anything in there under 23-114?
That third, taking that
We're
third.
just taking out that third paragraph
Right,
for now.
for now, until she checks into
Okay.
it.
Then what about the 23-115, social media?
Well, the city clerk is responsible for that, and you monitor them.
Me and the mayor are the only 2 people who have that password, and I'm gonna give it to her because I think she can handle it.
So I don't see why anything really needs to be changed if you guys are monitoring them and keeping up with, because you have to do Facebook. Everybody has Facebook. I mean, you can do the city website, but everybody relies on Facebook, and with you guys monitoring it, I don't see no problem. Do you guys?
And even if we want to expand it for like emergencies, closures, tornadoes, whatever, we can add on some more like Instagram or whatever else we want to get onto. And there is an alert system as well with this website that we're looking at called Civic Plus. So we can shoot it out to everybody, and we do not want any comments on that. We'll lock all comments, because this is for information only, is our social media. It's not to talk to anybody, they can call us. Or
It's
send
just for
us an
information.
email. Right.
That will also take care of that, what we were talking about. a text
Implementing
to all
like the school,
employees.
like the school does, they send a text out to all parents that school's dismissed early today due to da-da-da, or
Right.
school will not be going on due to da-da-da. And we was talking about the city getting that too, and that could go through the
Yeah,
website.
so what we would do is through the website, you can, and we'll have all the employees do it as well. You can sign up for the alert system, email, text, whichever one you prefer, or both. And that way, all we have to do is, whoever's doing it, or me, I'll just put in city closure, blah, 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 and it'll shoot it off to everybody that's signed up.
Including citizens.
Yeah, if they want to sign up under it, they can too. We'll put that out on social media, say, get text alerts or email alerts, sign up here. We'll put the link, we can link it directly right to that page where all they have to do is sign up. We can even attach code red in there, or National Weather Service in there too.
Do we need to plan on putting any details in about the web presence, or is this line here good enough?
I think since we're not even to that point yet, let's see, the city plan.
I mean, I think that's basic enough.
I mean,
I think that's fine.
okay, so let's go to page 40. I know that Myrna, one of the requirements or compliance that they cited us for was the safety officer. And then Terry, you found out about the ADA coordinator at this last conference, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said we have to have an ADA coordinator to, we don't have to make everything ADA compliant right this second, but we have to show that we're trying and we're making an effort. We have to have the plan.
And that one thing over there on, that we said move to safety, that number 15, is that gonna be added into the 23-124?
The accident.
Oh, the accident thing that you was talking about earlier, Trish.
Yes, that will be included with the 124 and the 130, 23, 130, and 102.15. We'll get all of those joined together
Okay,
under one specific.
okay.
So do we just appoint somebody for the ADA coordinator, or is it going to be a full-time position?
They said most cities use the fire chief, and I know Sherry talked to ours, I don't know what he said to her, but I know she was gonna talk to him about it, because he's already doing building safety inspections, so it's not that much more.
Why can't we do the assistant fire
They-
chief? Since he's not the building,
volunteer. He's a volunteer, he's not an employee, the assistant isn't.
but we couldn't
But they
add
have
him as an employee, so he can
He's a-
do
He
that?
has a full-time job somewhere else. But they have a clerk out there that we pay weekly for 10 hours, so any of the paperwork or clerical work that these two, the safety officer, the ADA would require, then Jason would have, somebody to do that or help him.
And the safety officer, Myrna says, generally it's the mayor, the city clerk, and the city administrator are the safety committee. I'm not sure who the safety officer, I guess it would be one of those, or, but the three of them, you're supposed to have committee meetings every quarter. So we need to have a safety committee, and we need to have meetings every quarter and document them for Myrna.
So Myrna says that they come on site and do safety
Mhm.
Right.
meetings. So it's just someone to coordinate them to come and do a safety meeting for us?
And to make sure our supervisors are doing safety meetings, I think that's all it's about, is, we're gonna have our gun safety this week, and we're gonna have our pepper spray training that week, and
Well,
we're
that's
gonna have our
kinda-
dog bite training this week.
Well, they just do
That's
it
kinda
once-
up
I
to
think they
the-
just do it once a month. I'm not sure whether Murmur will show up every month or not. I knew that
I
there
don't
would
know
be
how
time
often.
that they would come out.
Yeah, it says
So,
they'll
and they
come
get
out free
offered
of
training,
charge.
I'm pretty sure there's training materials.
Yeah,
that the
Kelly
supervisors
talked to
can
the
do.
mayor when he was here he did one with the police a couple weeks ago.
So there's really nothing, other than what you're doing with this job and accident, nothing else changes on 40 at this time?
Job injury and accidents, are we gonna put together a protocol there, or what's the deal?
That's, yeah, we're
Yes.
gonna put several together to cover it all.
That, from that number 15 is gonna be on there, and then 40,
Have an accident.
yeah, accident pension with everything listed.
Okay, and now I do know you get hold of Mountain View, will they do that? Will the hospital up there, somebody can find out if they will do the drug and alcohol testing up here at the hospital?
I need to check places, but yeah, that's one of them.
They can,
I can check Mercy.
That's the
they
quickest.
can, yeah, Walmart
I
had,
can
that's what we
check
sent it to, was up there at
OMC.
Mercy.
There's an occupational health place.
Yeah, but see, if you have an accident, what they did was they just immediately,
Took them to,
after the state patrol
Oh.
showed up and whatnot like that, and everything was gone, boom, just immediately, they loaded me up in a car, took me up here to Mercy, and that was,
yeah, they
And
can do testing.
so the
there.
school had an agreement with them, I assume, to do such, but now whether or not we do, I don't know.
Walmart had one too, so that's something that we need to check
Right.
into and see if they will do that for the city as far as getting them up there and getting them tested immediately.
Yeah, I
You
need
don't
to
know
check
all
into
the
two. I
people.
found the MIRMA inspection we got last year. We failed on having pre-employment physicals because we don't do them. We need to do them. So I need to call around and get physicals and drug tests, pre-employment, and I'll check on the accident at the same time.
Okay,
Find out what it's
So
gonna
is
cost.
it 2 jobs or just a physical for all of them?
I need to get clarification. I would think it would be just for the people who work outside and do physical labor, because I don't need a physical to sit at my desk and go like this. You know?
No, that's not true.
oh,
Well,
yeah, that's.
Yeah, but they're gonna do it, they'll do it all the way around the table anyway,
yeah,
so,
I think they'll do everybody.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean, but,
Okay, are we done with 40?
no,
Okay, anything else on 40? Then 41.
So this would all go into the accident testing, would it not? Because there's, on page 43, it's post-accident testing,
yeah.
return to work testing, follow-up testing.
Well, and that's what she's
That
going
was-
to reference.
Through, right?
Yeah, that's, if anything that will, need to have a protocol attached to it will be referenced to our main accident.
Accident.
Yeah, I think this whole section on the alcohol-free drug place, I think this all came from MIRMA. They required us to have this in there, so we're gonna have to check on that.
Also, can we also make sure that it's stated in there, it doesn't matter if they have a CDL or not, I think all employees should be due to a random test. That's just my opinion, because,
That's one of the things I checked on from KT Health.
because it doesn't matter if they don't have a CDL or not, if they are on city property and they're under the influence, I mean, they're no different than anybody
Are
else.
you talking about, suspicion?
Well,
Like
no,
reasonable suspicion?
well, yeah, that would
Testing?
definitely be one you would be, but I'm just saying, if you're going to do random drug tests on the ones with CDLs, then the other ones that doesn't have CDLs, why don't they get randomly done too?
KT Health.
Because they are not driving a CDL vehicle, but they're driving city vehicles.
Yeah,
Well, but now,
you'll
okay,
want
so-
city vehicle, anybody who drives a city vehicle to be part of the RANDA.
Yes.
And then you will want to include for the reasonable suspicion testing.
Yes.
Should be all employees, not just those.
Any
You're
driver
not
or
allowed
not
to
driver.
random test, if I'm not mistaken, here in Missouri, you're not allowed to random test anybody in City Hall because they're not in a position of, I forgot the name of the word, who's there,
But if there is
Come
reasonable
on.
suspicion, though, you can.
Okay, KT Health sent me this. They said they can do DOT people, they do them now. 50% of the employees are tested quarterly for drugs and 10% for breath alcohol. They can do another pool of non-DOT, which would be everybody that's non-DOT at the same
Level.
levels, 50% and 10% quarterly. It is $60 per the 10-panel drug test and $45 per breath alcohol test. So
Well,
that is what it would cost you to have it
and
done.
why wouldn't
for-
we wanna test the non-CDLs or whatever drivers, because they're still driving our equipment.
I think it's in,
Just the drivers?
I think it's in the personnel handbook that it's for everybody, but
Yeah.
that's the only ones we have been doing,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's in our old policy.
And it needs to be implicated with all.
We just need to implement.
If you want to implement it with all, or those, yeah, those
I think we
amounts.
should,
what
because
they
they're
do.
like on.
I'm calling a 10-minute break.
Thank you.
Sorry, I know.
My bladder's calling.
We are back in session.
Gosh, we just.
We are on page 44, 23132. Any questions? I'm going fast. 45,
She's a nice girl.
46. $47. 48 is the organizational chart, and I have some requests.
So,
You all got a copy of,
46, really
oh,
quick.
you're back on 46?
Yeah, we might want to add number 2, grounds for action, but after permanent employee, but not limited to, because we can't cover everything for grounds for action.
So, but not limited to.
So on page 46,
So it would be a comma, but not limited to.
as we list it all out, you might want to add intentional sabotage to E. I had a couple worries
Where was that
about
added to? D.
E.
E.
I had a couple worries about the first paragraph at the top. I think where it says, no permanent employee shall be disciplined except for violations established rules, blah, blah, blah. I think that leaves a lot of room for loopholes in that. We might want to tidy it up just a little bit.
Which one was that? The very top, okay.
Because you're saying, except for violations established by rules and regulations, well, they could say, well, it wasn't in the rules and regulations, so you really can't get me on a violation. I'm hoping that, but not limited to, might take care of that, but we might just want to firm that up a little bit and not make it so loose and generic.
So how would you suggest we do that?
Shall be in accordance with procedures established by personal rules and regulations. Maybe we, I'm gonna need to think on that one.
But you think at the end of regulations, the last word, but not limited to, would take care of some of it?
I think, yeah, number 2, grounds of actions will help, but we do need to do something about that. Because we're just being vague about violations
The-
and discipline accordance to policies and procedures.
But the not limited to is down
But,
under number 2.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah, so that kind of,
But
Will help.
back up here, because we have just had an instance that, there wasn't any regulation about that, so.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so on
we'll-
that first paragraph, what if we, okay, it shall be the duty of all city employees to comply with and to assist in carrying into effect the provisions of the city's personal rules and regulations, and stop it there?
No,
Is that
but
what you're
not
talking
limited
about,
to.
trying to,
I think we need to take accept out. Because that makes it specific to violations of established rules and regulations.
Oh, that, Okay, on the second sentence, no permanent employee shall be disciplined for
Yeah,
Oh, so
maybe
take
we
the
should
violation.
just take it out.
That whole sentence or the except? Because except
Except.
makes it specific to.
Except.
It says no permanent shall be disciplined for violation. That would,
Yeah, that doesn't,
then you're not
yeah,
disciplining
it's
anything.
still.
Okay, what if
Employee shall be
we-
disciplined
What if we
for-
take the no permanent employee shall be disciplined for violation out to regulations on that line and go from the top regulation and add, and such discipline shall be in ordinance with the procedures established by the personnel rules and regulations, just get rid of that second sentence.
Oh, yeah, that would definitely help.
Or you could do permanent employee shall be disciplined for violations of established rules and regulations.
But not limited to,
But not limited to.
Yeah.
right?
So take out the no.
Okay, the first sentence is okay. Second sentence starts with permanent employees.
Shall be disciplined for
Take out the word
violation.
except for violation of established rules and regulations, and such discipline shall be in accordance with procedures established by the personnel rules and regulations.
But on that second, no permanent employee shall be disciplined for violations of established rules and regulations, but not limited to.
So that goes there too.
And then on C, we might want to say something to this effect, discipline shall be upon determination or dependent on severity, because where you say of an increasing progressive nature, we might want to, that's a little bit vague, so we could say, upon determination of an increasing, not possible, we don't want to have that possible. Whenever possible, we don't want that. We would want to say more so, upon determination, something more solid, more concrete, rather than whenever possible.
Would we even have to have anything in there?
Discipline shall be the steps of, or the
Discipline,
progression of discipline shall be the steps.
so discipline shall be of an increasingly progressive nature, the steps of progression being warning, suspension, termination.
We could say, depending on the severity, discipline will begin with a warning, suspension, to termination if it continues, something like that. We don't really need to say it, progressive nature or steps. We could say,
It's,
discipline shall be upon our determination, a warning, suspension, termination, in that order. But we
or
do,
could we say too, the step of progression could be warning or suspension or determination?
or termination,
Or
yeah,
termination.
because it depends on the actual violation.
Right, that's what I'm
It's-
saying.
It's the violation, it's the severity, so we don't want to say, this is our protocol, because if they
You
did
might not
something
want to do
right,
warning and suspension,
they
you want,
might just be terminated for what they
Terminated,
just did.
right.
So it's really dependent upon the severity
right,
of the action
right.
or lack of action.
So I
So
think
we-
it should be being warning or suspension or termination. And
Well,
take out the numbers.
The first sentence on the second one would be the sentence. Or it has the or in it. The warning, suspension, or termination of any
Right.
permanent employee.
But that's why I think the or should just go right up there too instead of the numbers, you know.
So we could say the steps of discipline may include the following: warning or suspension or termination, like you said.
Right.
So that way we can just leave out all the other stuff. So these are the steps of,
Do you even have to call it the steps? Or just discipline shall be number 1, warning, or number 2, suspension, or number 3, termination?
yeah,
Would you
But just
have-
take out the 2 and the number 3 and just put this one shall be warning or suspension or termination. And just take out all of the other.
Pretty random. Once again, you're gonna rely upon,
Or termination.
Huh?
if you do it that way,
yeah.
I mean,
this is
it's pretty random.
discipline action.
Just because I get mad about something doesn't mean somebody else is gonna be mad about it. And so that's kind of leaving it, when I say that, or, I don't mind that, but what I'm saying is it just kind of, to me, feels like that it's like, I mean, if I show up drunk, yeah, I'm gonna get fired. That's bottom line, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if I show up, you know, if I show up late because I've had 2 flat tires and I've
Right.
been, you know, then you're gonna get talked to or whatever. But I
Right.
just felt like that, I feel like the saying,
So we could say discipline actions may include warning, suspension, or termination, so that it's not concrete, but it may,
well, there again, it's
Depending
judgment
on-
call.
right.
That's
It's
what I'm
really
trying to
gonna be
avoid.
dependent on the action,
Well, I
so-
think if somebody shows up drunk, I don't think they deserve a warning.
That's right.
And then go to suspension, and then the 3rd time, because they could have killed somebody that 3rd time from
Right.
a drink.
Right. I mean, I agree with that,
Yeah.
but when I say, you know, I don't, and I, right offhand, I don't have an instance, but I just don't wanna make it a random type thing.
But if you look at the grounds for actions, you can, like, if you go through each one, you can kind of more or less pick if they're getting a warning, or if they're gonna get suspended, or if they're gonna get terminated. I mean, with these that we have on this specifically.
At least if an employee reads this and they go, hey, discipline may be warning, suspension, or termination, they might say, well, they're gonna just write me up again, you know?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on 46?
What if you kind of worded it like this: disciplinary actions may include all of the following, including all the following: warning, suspension, or possible termination.
Text that too.
Does that sound? Disciplinary actions may include all of the following: warning, suspension, or possible termination. And that would kind of cover it all, wouldn't it, in a sense?
May include the following.
Written or verbal warning?
And putting the possible in there
Well,
makes it
the
a little
warning
less
depends on
threatening
how we want
to the
to,
people who can stand.
how do we want to implement the warning?
I think it needs
Yeah.
to be,
Verbal,
written.
I
written?
think it needs to be written. There has to be proof of it. Disciplinary.
Well, that would be in the file, so that would, yeah.
Yeah, written
Yeah,
warning
so
in the
written
file.
warning.
You write that down?
Written warning.
So G, the second sentence, maintenance of effort to pay debts, that just didn't make sense to me. And I'm not familiar with the process here.
Child support,
Yeah.
G. Would that be child support?
Maintenance
Well, I
of
mean, if you owe
effort
your
to pay
$10,000
debts.
Should say
hospital
proof
bill,
of effort to pay
Well,
you're
debts.
working, you know.
Well, it ain't gonna matter if
Something
they
that.
garnish it,
Yes.
they ain't got no choice.
Something that garnishes your wages, but I don't think there should be held for a warning or suspension or termination for that.
Maintenance of effort doesn't make sense. It should say proof of effort to pay debts.
I
What
don't
debts are
even
they
think it
talking
should
about?
Say that, I don't
Your
think, I think
employee
that's
of neglect
way
charges.
too much.
Water neglect.
If I owe money,
charges.
that's my problem, not the city's problem.
It's neglect charges is whenever you, like a hospital bill, and you neglect and they turn you over to, or child support, or
Yeah, just
alimony.
neglect is just
But
not
still,
taking
that's,
care of it.
that's their problem, not the city's problem.
Right.
Unless we're gonna pertain it to city debts they owe us.
It states here, employee neglect typically refers to either an employer's failure to provide a safe environment, training, or supervision leading to a workplace injury.
That would be employer's neglect though.
Yeah, I think we should take G.
It's under employee neglect is what it states, but I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
Just
neglect of
doesn't
the
make
sense.
employee, I
Right.
A
guess.
worker who neglects to secure heavy machinery could face negligence. In other words, if they caused a neglect, is what it's stating, like, say I parked the front end loader, but I didn't put the bucket down, I didn't secure the brakes, and I walked away, that makes me,
Liable.
yes, and that's considered employee neglect, because I did not do what I was supposed to do. Like if I forgot to put the manhole cover over the manhole and somebody walked by and, you know,
That's
it's
not-
And it's
But let's-
neglect.
That's not making sense on
Yeah, but
this,
what
because
she's
it
talking
says
about here is
refusal or
money.
neglect of
But
pay.
Pay
what
legal,
you're talking
legal
about-
and
Legally
enforceable debt.
enforceable debts.
What you're talking about, neglect is
Neglect.
in neglect or carelessness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what G is, refusal or neglect to pay legal enforceable debt. Well, that's not the city's problem,
No.
that's your problem.
Yeah.
I think G ought to just come completely out of there.
The only thing I can think of is if they owe a water bill or utility bill or something like that. But, I mean, is that something that being an employee versus being a citizen? I
Well,
don't
that
know
would be
how
out of our hands anyways, that would be,
That could be,
for like
but
the-
not limited to,
right, and that could be the city prosecutor or,
right,
you know, they wouldn't be any different than a citizen to not pay their,
right.
and it would be, yeah, turned over to a debt, so that really, it would be out of our hands if they owed,
So let's just take it out.
I'm like
You
that,
don't
yeah,
want
let's
to
just,
discipline
Shut them
them
off
for
just
that.
as well as we shut everybody else off.
Are we going to delete G?
Right.
yes.
Delete G.
Yay, are we done? Oh my gosh. I have nothing else.
Anything on 47?
I have nothing.
Okay. Does everybody have, I'm missing a few lines on this, but 148? 48 is the city manager. Things have come to my attention that the parks, the way that this is now, it's got all of the departments over here on the right, coming off of the city admin, and then on the left, other than the city hall clerks, this is the other facilities that are away from, they're separate facilities. And I'm asking that the pool not be under parks supervision. The parks department would still maintain that as the park, but the pool needs to be like the golf course
Right,
and the
That's the way it
library, the
used to
senior
be.
center, under the city admin.
that's the way it used to be, but the parks
City
maintains.
hall is a department under the city admin, but the city clerk would be the supervisor there. And every one of the other departments has a
City-
supervisor.
The city clerk is the supervisor over city hall clerks, right?
Right. But it's a department, just like the rest of them
But, okay, if we don't put the pool under parks, who's gonna get ready next year?
Well, that's under
Well,
part of the
that'll be-
maintenance, wait a minute, it's always been.
And just because it's always been, but what it is right here, it says parks and pool underneath, and that's what she's asking
Well-
to change, put pool off by itself. So then what, you
I'm talking
know,
about the personnel part of the pool will be under the city administrator.
So in other words, if they need discipline, the city administrator will do
Okay.
it and not the
Or
park
scheduling or
supervisor.
any of that.
Okay.
The Parks Department is still gonna take care of the facility because it's part of the park.
Okay,
The swimming pool is part of the park, just like the golf course is part of the park.
okay.
But they will be under the city administrator instead of the park supervisor.
Correct.
Does
Yeah,
that
okay.
mean we have to label them a pool supervisor and pool manager now? Or do we already have
we-
them labeled that way?
Well, no, they're a manager and an assistant manager now, but that's another department that needs to be evaluated and adjusted. Yeah.
Okay, so we
So
want to
for
take
that-
it from parks and we just want to make it on its own under the city administrator, just like this one and this one, and this one and this one. So we're taking this part out and this part out and just making them on their own, but under the
Yeah.
city administrator like the rest of them.
Right.
And the city clerk is coming down from the alderman, and then a line goes over to city hall clerks,
Yeah, I
right?
guess we didn't print this because this was just our worksheet and I haven't got back to it yet, but I'm gonna pass this down and then I'll pass it.
This is the one we have.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one we agreed on last round.
This is what
So
we're
I think
talking
on
about
this
now.
one, the only thing we have to do is.
She's got one more copy of it. Here's what she's wanting to do. There's a couple of lines there.
What you want to do with this, right?
City.
Just keep
Well,
that,
just
take two and go.
Yeah,
to
just
that.
put pull there to the south, that's what I
Well,
said.
that's all.
Yeah, that would be about the same.
So the city
Yeah,
clerk
it was
section
just
supervisors.
moving that box in there.
No.
I think that box was over there.
No,
Just move
the
the
city
line.
clerk should be the supervisor over the
That's what
city.
that little line is right there.
Yeah, but then why is it coming out to city
Because
administrator?
it's still a department. Every one of this
Oh.
is a department. This department has a supervisor, this department has a supervisor, this department has a supervisor. She's the supervisor there.
Well, have we made her supervisor yet? Because it,
Well, no, because we haven't approved this.
well, it was
Chart,
on the old one that way too. If you look on the old one, she was just in a little square by herself, not connected to nobody. If we can find
Right,
it.
and the clerks weren't anywhere. She was just out there. She had no one under her.
Like that one.
Right.
That's why we got
And see this right
Yeah, all this one.
the clerk's
place here, it's bingo.
Yeah,
There,
just-
there, to there.
No, that wasn't, the one that I had in my old one,
Where this one.
she was just a little square by herself, no lines drawn to nothing
Or anywhere.
on the old ones.
Well, that's the one that we were, that's the one that we went over the draft.
Yeah, you wanna show these two and I'll show those two?
Well, yeah.
Okay, what Trish is saying,
Right, so I think what she's saying.
So this is how we actually.
okay, this is, she's done this way, she's saying this line should
Coming
not
off
be.
of the
But the
alderman
city
here.
clerk, I need to be down equal with her.
Yep.
We're on the
You don't
old
wanna do
one.
anything
See how
like
the
this.
city hall.
So this needs to be go, it should need to come down like this, and she needs to be above them,
Yeah,
correct?
so you just
On the chart.
take
But
the-
not
This
this
line here.
City Hall.
Just take city clerk.
See, this is the way it used to be, she just hung
And
there
then
by
draw a
herself.
line under her, because everybody under her.
Yeah,
is-
so instead of that,
That's
you
how
just
it always
take
has to
this
be.
thing and put.
Right,
I think what the mayor
This is
should
how
probably
it
explain on this one here is she's still over as the supervisor over everyone.
So that's gone.
Yeah,
But
That's
this
why
way,
She's here.
my concern is the city hall clerks now have two supervisors. They have me and they have her.
Well, they
all
all
of-
do.
all of these other departments have
Yeah.
the same thing though.
They have one supervisor. This supervisor has reports to her. I don't report to the city clerk or to the city administrator, I report to these guys.
Right, but you are the supervisor over these, just like Zach is the supervisor over here.
Okay,
So
do we
this
need
one,
to make it
wait a
official?
minute.
Yeah,
If-
this-
if
this
he's the
is-
supervisor-
Officially this way.
Over sanitation.
So do we need to go ahead and make her official now? Because it's in the old book too, ain't it?
Right.
I report,
no,
this is
you
the
gotta
whole-
do the whole thing.
Right,
What was in the old book?
so this line don't need to be here.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Because if it was in the old book,
No, that line does not need
We
to
might
be
as
there
well
on the
just
city clerks.
kick the dirt and get it going, huh?
That's what I think.
Okay, Trish, what do you
All right,
say?
we're looking, hold on.
We're setting up.
I don't think that line from the city hall
here's this
clerks
one.
should be hooked to
She's got it over
city
there, what she
administrator.
wants it
Now,
to be.
it's gotta be like this. She's coming off of the alderman's here.
Right,
She's going to be the supervisor, the clerks are underneath her. It always
Right.
has to be underneath to show that
Right,
she is above what
Right.
we're reporting to her. So we just need to
Oh,
put
I'm
the
sorry.
the alderman, just extend the alderman line down there. And then you just keep her there and then a line there and clerks go under her.
so this should be city
So
clerk.
this one would be more or
Does that
less
make
moved down.
That-
And
that
then
makes
this
it look
drops
like it's,
down to a
equal,
box.
equal.
Okay.
And city hall clerks.
Yeah, and then
This
cross
box
that
doesn't
out,
exist.
just cross that over
Right.
out.
That line over there.
That's terrible.
Is that, okay.
Oh, yeah, I was right over to show you what she was going to show
Okay,
you.
there's 49.
Did we get that all straight, that how this is supposed to be?
So cross that out
Yep, okay.
over there and then under there, not connected.
Right. And these go here instead of there.
I don't believe
Yeah.
there's any wiggle room here.
A little bring it down.
But she went on to 49.
So we're gonna.
That's what she said, 49.
Yeah, that's Missouri State Constitution, you don't
Yeah,
think we can do
there's no
anything
wiggle
about that.
room.
Right. Okay.
And the next 50, 51, 52, 53, and 54 are all the forms that go along with this.
Okay. Any objections to any of them, if they order them correctly?
Well, okay, so this one, the first one on 50, is stating the end of the probationary period. Okay, isn't the city administrator over the employees?
Yeah?
Where are
Page
50. 50.
50?
So I need to take mayor off there and put city administrator?
Sure.
Well, I was just wondering, because isn't that what the city administrator is supposed to be
Yeah.
over the employees?
Well, I'm over,
Then-
yeah, the supervisors, the employees are under the
We should see
supervisor,
the
I'm
mayor
over
there.
this.
But you're over the employees as a whole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so put city admin there.
Then
The
the
age
next one needs to
waiver,
be the
that's
same
the mayor.
thing, and it could be changed at the beginning, or wherever it is in the age.
So the next one should be city admin
Okay, so the next one is,
for the age requirement. Okay.
sometimes our lifeguards.
Outside employment request.
Or 16.
Might as well change that one too.
No, you have to have you and the city
Yeah, on
administrator.
that one there, both of you.
Yeah,
said
it does
the
have
same.
city administrator over there,
Yeah.
Sherry.
Okay.
So I
Outside
mean,
employment.
I guess you
There
could,
wouldn't be a supervisor involved
If
if
they
they
got
got
outside employment, you and the mayor both have to agree.
well, would that be one that they would both have to?
The supervisor has to
Yeah,
request.
for outside employment, I
We
would
would
think
still
so.
be in on that one.
53, I think we need to take that out.
What is it?
The city's employee,
Oh, the search thing.
Yeah. Yep, what is it? Yep, yep.
page 53.
Yeah. This needs to be deleted.
Just delete
Did
the
we
search
delete the
policy.
whole thing?
I can delete the
Did
whole.
we, no, did we delete?
Yes.
There's
No,
something in
No,
there
there's
about.
some in there.
There's some in there about the city can search the city's property. So you can search my desk, you can search my office,
But you can't
but you
search
can't get my
personal.
purse or my car, basically is what it
Unless
says.
there's a warrant.
You know what,
Well,
Without a warrant.
Okay. This says city property without individual. This is city property, not personal property.
Yeah, I would still have them do this because then they can't say, well, you can't get in my desk, that's my personal property. This
Yeah.
is- they
Well, if this one's
understand.
just the city property, then,
Yeah,
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 this
this
is
is
just city property.
okay.
And one of these needs to be signed by everybody. When we renew this, they should come in and get the new policy. And then bring this back signed and put it in the record. That way they can't say, well, nobody give me one.
That's true.
That would be for meeting with and evaluating and all of that,
Right.
hopefully. Hopefully.
Well, I would think that you would hand them out to the supervisor. Supervisor takes care of them, the supervisor brings them back. You don't want, you don't want to leave it up to the employee to bring it back. You leave it up to the supervisor to make sure their employees.
That way everybody has it in their phone.
Agree.
And it says received and will read, I believe, not have read, but we will.
Because we didn't expect them to
Did we get that? Did we get that?
We got one thing here.
Oh, Calvin, why do you always have to ruin everything?
On your
Because he gets a kick out of it.
Are we through with the book though? The manual?
Yes.
Are we through with the manual?
Okay.
Calvin?
Are you happy?
Are
Okay.
we voting on?
No, no, wait a minute, just a second.
Okay.
You have nothing here on NV05 on your new hire. No parks is in there anywhere. It says electric, water, street, wastewater, librarian, golf, senior center, city park. Nothing about parks.
Oh, okay.
And when you go on up, you see laborer at parks on NV02, but nothing on supervisor.
I will add park
That's the only thing I
supervisor.
noticed
Good
there.
catch.
Good
Thank
deal.
you.
Got
On
it.
number 5, you said?
Yes, NV,
Yeah.
whatever that,
All the
NV05.
All the supervisors are in that.
Yeah, that should be all supervisors.
Yeah.
I do have a couple questions. On the area median, where did you get that from? Is that like a localized within 60 miles, 100 miles?
We got it from Willow
This is Willow's, these
Springs.
dollar amounts are what Willow is using.
Can we get if we're gonna do a median, we need to have more than just one, I would imagine, to get like localized.
How about Houston? That would be a
Houston is high paid.
Yeah.
At least their police chief is higher paid than ours. Their fire chief is way high paid.
You might look at there.
Kabul, I asked for one and they said they don't have anything they can send me. I can ask for some others.
He said Thayer.
Thayer, I haven't asked Thayer, but I will ask
I
Thayer.
could see them more.
There is very comparable to our size and
Yeah.
Right.
That's
It'd
my
be almost
concern.
like an estimate.
Yeah, because Willow Springs is growing like exponentially, so it's hard to get that.
What about Kabul?
Okay.
Yeah, we were just trying to get something for this meeting today.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good
We'll
idea.
have nothing on pretty much anything. Take my word, I've been up there and talked to them face to face.
Yeah, they did.
Mountain Grove, probably a little bit different, but that'll be tough to get it out of because every person inside City Hall is changed.
Yeah, we also looked at the Office of Personnel with the state, and they have the G codes as well, the grades, and then the dollar amounts. Something for you to go by, which were actually really close to what we got off of this as well. And actually, on their personnel, the division of personnel, they list out, gosh, how many, like,
4 pages, single space.
yeah, of every single position within the government. So we were able to go in there and say, okay, they're calling this a G9. G9 is this dollar amount, they said, and then we compared it to ours. And they'll kind of also use that as well, but we can give you guys that information.
Well, I gotta say, I'm proud of you two, what you got done in one day.
Not to add more work, but I had an idea. I'm sorry. So I know we have specific keys. So if we're doing tracking on vehicles, where vehicles are at, what about doing tracking on keys?
That's a
So
good
like,
point.
we've had employees over the years that maybe have not returned keys if we're not changing locks, things like that. So if you sign them out when they receive them, you sign them back in
When you're terminated or
when you get them back. And if not, then they get charged a $50 fee for that key or.
Because you have to change the lock, that pays for the changing of the
Yes.
lock. That is a very good idea.
Yeah, it's just an idea.
There is a key box in there on the wall that has like 3 things that pull out of it with keys on both sides. It's a horrible mess. I don't even know if most of them work. When I go in there looking for something that'll unlock an office, it never works. I haven't verified. Probably somebody needs to verify, take all the keys out of there and go to what it says it is and see if it works. Who
Well,
knows?
they actually are stamped. Last time.
It's just 20 years of keys.
Yeah.
So,
We need to get her a key, by the way, to the back door.
so when onboarding,
There we go, go ahead.
You know, in the vault shoe.
when onboarding an employee, There has to be, if they are going to get an office key, a vehicle key, a badge, oh, you guys don't do badges. Anything else that needs to be returned to us has to be listed out on a piece of paper.
Like,
They sign it, we sign it, and then when they are terminated or they resign, we pull that out and we say, okay, where are these? They give them to us, we check it off, they sign it, we sign it, and it goes in their personnel records.
kind of like signing out a library book, you gotta sign it back in.
Right,
And maybe the same for if they have to come in through the office and get a key or something specific, like the sanitation, opening that up, like, in the mornings, who all has keys for that?
yeah, they have to sign in and sign out for sure, and we hold on to the keys.
Yes.
If they're borrowing it for that day or minute or whatever,
Yes.
they should be signing it in and out.
Have a main key that they have to come to City Hall to sign in and out.
You can buy locks now that you can rekey yourself. They're not the really nice ones like the one in the back that has a punch code that you can get in, but just for the doorknobs, like the office doors, you can get locks. I have on my house. I can take any key and change it.
Okay, we're getting away from the work session. Do I have a call for adjournment of this?
I'll make that motion.
Oh, sorry, were we voting on,
We can't vote on
Super.
any,
oh, not
anything
until this
that's not on the
is,
agenda.
okay,
That'll, when that organizational chart's approved, then that
okay,
will be it.
okay.
I really don't understand that because the city clerk has always been the supervisor of City Hall
But
and the Owen and everything. I don't understand why we
The
have to
city
go
hall
to this.
wasn't even listed in the old one though.
It was on that one of mine. I mean, the clerks wasn't, but the city.
That's what I mean, the clerks were.
We need to hire that city clerk, the utility clerk, and we need some direction on who's gonna do the hiring.
You two right there.
Yeah, because they're gonna be over them, and you're over them, and them, and them, and them, so.
Is that gonna work for everybody?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hire him.
We have a second, a motion and a second to adjourn.
Okay,
We need to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye.